Fighter and the Kid Army Squad, what is happening? Bryan Callen is on set, and unfortunately we can't do the show too late, so I had to replace him. I put out the bat signal, and my boy Josh Wolf is stepping up. He's one of my favorites. He's a beast on the mic. If you don't know who he is, he's been on the show multiple times before. Comic. He was a host of his own kind of late night talk show. Great dude. Has some classic Joey Diaz stories, which I'm sure we'll get into because Joey Diaz used to babysit his kids. And then we have on David
Koechner.
David Koechner. I always mess his last name up.
It's got a tough one. It spells very weird.
David Koechner. He's from Anchorman 2. He's also a comedian, so it should be a fun one. Fully loaded show today. The reason I'm kicking this bad boy off myself is despite what the management and agents tell me, I like to be upfront with you guys exactly what's going on with the Fire and the Kid, and because we would not be here if we weren't so raw and real. Let's be honest. So our contract is up with Fox, and we've been going back and forth in negotiations. And, I always preach, know your worth, know your worth. I always say that about Conor McGregor, any of the fighters or athletes, know your worth. Even if you're working a 9 to 5, know your worth. You shouldn't be getting screwed over. Not that we're getting screwed over. But it's time to kind of talk the talk and walk the walk. And I just don't see how it would benefit the Fire and the Kid to be in cahoots with Fox any longer. I just don't see how we're going to grow. I think by going out on our own, being independent, working with multiple networks, MTV, Comedy Central, Spike, blah, 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 list goes on, that Viceland that we've been in communications with. I just think being a free agent and having the podcast live on their own and not being associated with a brand is the way to go. I've also always said there's no better investment you can make than in yourself. So I just feel like if we're going to grow, and I have some crazy goals and ideas for where I want this show to go, and that doesn't include Fox. We've kind of been handcuffed, and not that show isn't growing every month. We're damn near 5 million downloads a month, and that's because of the Army. And that's not because we're with Fox. It has nothing to do with Fox. I've never met a fan. I've never had a comment where someone goes, dude, the only reason I listen to is because you guys are associated with Fox. That's never come out of anyone's mouth ever. I'm fortunate for Fox. I appreciate them providing a studio and Evan and and kind of just letting us do what we do to a certain extent, and I'll always be grateful for that. But there's a new regime here. My shout out to Pete Valencia, who actually left Fox, who's the Fox Sports. He's the president of Fox Sports here, and he left to do something that he was more passionate about. And so our original squad is no longer here, and now it's I don't know what it is, but I know it's not very motivating to me. When I walk into the studios, it's basically Walking Dead in this bitch. They're doing layoffs for people, and it's not motivating to me. I don't want to be the guy that walks in, and Bryan and I are the most motivating guys in this building. That's not what we're about, and I just feel like there's so much growth we can do, and it's just time. It's time, and the show's doing so well, and Bryan's mentioned this at some of the live shows. When we have these meetings, especially when we started 4 years ago, when we first signed with Fox, we were in negotiations, and those guys are gone, so I can speak on it, but they didn't want to give us a lot of resources, a lot of help, especially financially. I said, fine, let us bet on ourselves, do nothing, don't take any part of it, but we get 100% of advertisement eventually when the show gets big. And they went, good luck with that. An average fighter and a comedian actor who we barely know, good luck with that, fellas. Well, like I say, do you really want to bet against us? And I usually, when we are in disputes or in contract negotiations, that's usually the theme. Do you really want to bet against us? And Bryan every time gets fired up and he laughs. And in this case, the reason I say that, do you really want to bet against us? Us is not Bryan and myself. Us is the hundreds and thousands of listeners and subscribers and followers and Bryan and myself, which we refer to as the Fire Kid Army, Fire Kid Squad, whatever you want to call it. And when I say, do you really want to bet against us, that's what I mean. And you got to be crazy to bet against to bet against that. The odds are in our favor. The cards are in our favor. So I spoke with Bryan this morning, spoke with the agents, and December will be our last month here. So starting in January, we will be at our own studio literally up the street. I've already scouted the location. And something that I want to challenge the fans to, the Fire and Kid loyal listeners and everyone out there who knows the show and cares about the show is I want your help building out this studio. You know, obviously I see Rogan's a good buddy. He gives me tips and advice. And Jamie, who's his producer, one of the best in the world, gives me tips and advice. But what would you guys like to see? Now, we're basically on a 45-day notice by my decision. I like being under pressure. I like being I like having deadlines because it's going to get done way faster. So I think the best thing to do is for you guys to tell us what you want in there. Obviously, we don't have Avatar 2 budget. This isn't fucking Interstellar, so we don't have that budget. But if you think of something cool, something different, obviously Rogan Setup's the best, so we're probably aiming for something like that, minus his motherboard, which is apparently dipped in gold. We probably won't mess with that. But if you guys have ideas, and also you know, Evan is employee of Fox, so we don't know what's going to happen there. And I mentioned on Rogan, we are looking for a producer who's experienced in multiple platforms as far as podcasting, producing, video content, all that. We're looking for our young Jamie. You have to, let me say this, you have to be in Los Angeles. You really do. You have to be in Los Angeles to make this work because it won't be a full-time gig. It's going to be demanding. There's going to be a lot of stuff, and you have to be flexible. But it's, you know, you got to be in LA, and you also got to know what you're doing. You know, I've seen some of the resumes. We've already gotten hundreds of them. It's hard to filter those out, but yeah. So if you are the real deal, or maybe you're the real deal, you just haven't had your shot yet, but you know what you're doing. You're in the Los Angeles area. The Fire and the Kid team need you more than ever. So I have some cool things in the work. I think when we're on our own, you know, with Fox, we're kind of limited. I think, you know, we can do our own fight companions live. We can do live streams. We can basically do whatever we want. So that's the plan. The bat signal is up, and I love you guys, and we couldn't do without you. So I'm excited for the future. And again, if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough. And this is scary territory we're going in, but God damn it, do you really want to bet against us? I love you guys. Oh, Josh Wolf just walked in.
Noon like a mother.
Noon like a mother, and matching denim jackets, son. Yeah. Get in there.
Yeah,
what's up, man? Long time
Good
no
to see
see,
you,
brother.
Look at this place.
I know, right?
Now, buddy, I have to tell you, like, I haven't seen you. You look a little thin.
I have AIDS. No, they didn't. No one told you?
No.
I'm gay as shit now.
Which kind of AIDS?
The butt sex AIDS.
Oh, good.
The worst kind.
So you earned yours.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Magic Johnson AIDS.
Yeah,
no. I'm not talking about that floofy celebrity AIDS.
I like the fact that you earned your AIDS.
Yeah,
too. That's always nice.
Did I ever? Just raw.
What's
up, pal?
I have to ask you because I haven't seen you since you started your keto, and I'm sure
that's right.
People have asked you 1,000 keto.
Yeah.
How many pounds total have you dropped?
You know, I don't even know. I've gotten way leaner. I'm also working out a ton, so I think it is the diet, but I'm also working out like a madman. Because you know, I have a son now. I haven't seen you in a fucking while. So I have an 8-month-old son, which Lord. We got to go back to this because I got to talk to you about some other shit.
Yeah, because I have 2 grandkids older than your son.
So I have an 8-month-old son.
That hurts my feelings a little bit.
But he's up at 6 a.m. So I'm up at 6 a.m. I'm in bed by 8:30 unless I'm doing a set or something like that. But I'm in bed by 8:30, man. So I like waking up. So my workouts they're better than ever because, you know, I do my thing with him, then his mom takes over, and then I go to the gym before I come to the studio. So I have like 2 hours to get gnarly.
Okay, so when you are your energy level, this is what I really want to know because I tried that keto.
You're also how old are you?
47.
You're shredded.
Yeah.
You sent me a picture, and I'm like, bro, you don't do anything. If I look like you, I would do nothing. But you think I want to fucking eat avocados and cheese all the fucking time? You think I like that life?
By the way, I say that all the time. Like when people are like, I've never seen anyone when I sit down at a table with them look like they're really enjoying a salad.
No, never.
You know what I mean? Like
never.
Nobody's like, this quinoa salad. Like people enjoy.
So much better than that T-bone.
Yeah, right.
I'm so glad I got this.
Yeah, people enjoy pizza.
Yeah,
Nobody's ever heaped a bunch of green shit on top and been like, I enjoy that.
The thing, what people don't understand too is like I saw this group of guys, and I don't want to be like guys like, excuse me, fellas, just let you know the calorie count on that, the croutons, the blue cheese, all that. You might as well get the fucking burger that you keep staring at over there.
Yeah. But that's like, I have a friend of mine who goes and I see him order healthy food, and I know the food that he's ordering is healthy, and then throughout the meal he drinks 3 Coca-Colas.
Okay, well,
and I'm like, dude, why are you wasting it on the Coca-Colas? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Eat
a
large pizza.
Yeah, you'd be better off eating that large pizza because the sugar in that Coke is insane.
Over 100. If he has 3 of them, that's over. What people don't understand and what I've learned, and this is what I want to ask you about the keto. For me, I tried it, but I got so lethargic. My body, there was
How long did you do it for?
I did it only did it for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And what would happen is that it felt like my body was eating itself.
See, I don't think it's for you though. Like I always say this, you know, whenever I'm doing diets, I said it works for me.
Right.
It's not for everyone. Anyone who tells you this is what you should eat, this is how it should be done, this is how you should work out, is full of shit.
I agree with
my
that.
body's different than yours. Brian's body's different than mine. Brian and I talk about that all the time. Like, what do you do? You're an ectomorph. Like, eat whatever the fuck you want.
Ectomorph means old.
Yeah, right.
Okay, just
so
make
there's
sure.
mesomorph, ectomorph, but yeah, old,
Frail,
old as
is that what that
shit,
means, brittle?
It means brittle. It means brittle as shit.
Means your bones break easy?
Means you need calcium. You need milk. You suck on some titties. Yeah, but it's just whenever someone says that, like everyone's different, man. So your body probably loves carbs. My body does well with sugar to a certain extent. So with keto, I did keto. 4 or 5 months at least. And then there came a point, and people warned me, experts warned me, they're like, dude, I'm telling you, there's going to come a point where your body's going to adapt to us, and you're going to be lethargic, and you're not going to feel as great. And that happened, so I started slowly adding. So now I'm almost a paleo diet, because I'll add in sweet potatoes and stuff like that. So I go back and forth. So I'll do like paleo for a month, and then I just again started doing keto, just to constantly mix it up.
Do you know, it's been a while since I've been here.
I know.
You know that I get diagnosed as pre-diabetic.
Well, I didn't know that.
Okay.
It's in your family then.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what changed things for me. And it's when I really, you know what you were talking about, how different people's bodies, because all of you can't feed the Jaguar the way you feed a Prius.
No, yeah.
Right? The way you feed a Forerunner or whatever you're driving. Like everybody's machine is different. So when I was pre-diabetic, what I started, with that picture I sent you, my diet consisted of, because the doctor told me, he goes, do you want medicine? And I don't ever want to take medicine that stops my body from being able to do something.
Like produce on its own? Or
yes.
something like that?
He said,
like you're not going to get on TRT.
No, I don't want to, because I said, well, what happens if I finally get back to normal? And he was like, well, your body may need the TRT. So I said, is there a way that I can try to reset my body? And he said, yeah. And he recommended a couple books. And so for 45 days, I ate beans, greens, nuts, and seeds.
No protein, really? Meat protein, I should say?
And beans, but no animal
meat,
products.
No animal.
Now, I had never done...
30 days?
A little more than 30 days. I had never done a something like that. It was so interesting, dude, for a lot of reasons. I felt better than I'd ever had, and I also felt worse than I ever had.
Like more clear?
Oh, my brain was clearer.
People say that.
That was the crazy thing. My brain worked better. I had more energy until the point where my body needed more.
Which was how long?
2 hours.
Oh, really? 2 hours?
Think about what I'm eating. Beans, greens, nuts, and seeds. So it burned through it.
So can't you keep going, though? Because you have to snack like you're basically like a bird.
You're a cow.
You're a bird. I went vegan literally for 6 hours. I was talking with my friend. I'm like, I'm so in. 6 hours went by. I'm like, I need to fucking.
Yes.
It's a true story, man. Literally 6 hours I lasted.
It really, and when you start to crash, you crash hard. But and then what I started to do is I started to reintroduce my body. That's what the doctor said. He said, reintroduce a food that you like.
Just reset everything.
Yeah, and reintroduce a different food once a week. And what I found was everything I could reintroduce, sugar wasn't good for me. And well, that's how powerful I am, dude.
Dude, your new diet.
But you know what I really realized for me? Okay, so I'm a weed smoker. Mm-hmm. I don't get high and be like, hey, where are the cashews? Do you know what I mean? I'm never like...
Do you get high and go, where's the Oreos?
Where I used to take one bag of each Skittles. So regular, sweet and sour, tropical, and I would pour them in a bowl.
Jesus Christ.
And I would eat that every night.
Sounds like a hell of a every night.
Every night.
Sounds like a hell of a time.
Oh,
my mouth
come
is watering.
Oh, dude, so good. I haven't had a Skittle since February. That was harder. Like if you said, hey, looking back now, if they were like, do you think you could give up pussy or Skittles easier?
It's a toss up. Yeah. It's like, can I have an hour? Can you give me an hour?
Can you give me a little time to think about it?
They say sugar is more addicting than cocaine. Like the addictiveness of sugar is insane.
I used to
Real
dip.
problem for me.
I used to dip. Like, I played college baseball and I chewed tobacco nonstop.
You have an addictive personality?
A little bit. That's one of the reasons I don't drink that much because
Me too.
I don't know about you, but if somebody says, hey, let's go have a glass of wine with dinner, I'm like, no.
Can I have the bottle?
Yeah.
Or what are we doing here?
We're not going
I don't
home.
drink it all.
We're not going home till 6 in the morning.
No, yeah, I know.
Is that why for you too?
Honestly, I've never been into alcohol. I just have never been into alcohol. Even at in college at University of Colorado, huge party school, and we'd win a huge game. I was never. I don't like
Really?
the flavor. Yeah, I don't like the next morning. Like
Yeah.
I'm a morning person. I love nights, but I'm a morning person. I like getting after in the morning, and that messes all that up.
I always, when people try to argue to me that alcohol is better for you than weed.
That's not true.
No, because I always say, think about your next morning and how your body reacts the next morning. You're never from weed. You may be groggy. You may need to shake it off.
If it's an edible.
Yeah, but your
if
body.
it's smoke, you're fine.
Yeah, and your body never wakes up the next day like, fuck you for doing that.
Never. No, I mean, it's not even. They're not even comparable. Anyone who makes that argument should not have kids.
No, I will tell you, I took mushrooms for the first time in about 12 years a couple weeks ago.
With who? Your wife?
No, I wanted to have fun.
Hey man, don't be ridiculous. I like to get weird. Can't do that with the wife because there's no going back.
I actually ended up doing them by myself. I went to that.
Bro, this got sad real quick.
No, I was.
Listen, man, I don't have a lot of friends, and I do them by myself.
I should give you some context.
Good God. How's things going? Oh, great. Now we peel back the onions. I actually had no one to do them with.
Yeah, I just sat in my backyard by myself.
I kind of, fuck, man. I went and saw that new Finding Nemo movie and did shrooms by myself. Good Lord, bro.
Actually, not a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I went to Old Chella. Remember, that concert in the desert with the Stones?
Yeah,
I went with my brothers. And my brothers were not so down with doing shrooms. But I was by myself, but I didn't really feel totally by myself because I knew my brothers would be able to rein me in if they needed to.
Which is nice.
And two, like, I kind of know how much I need to take. I didn't trip balls. I just, you can take mushrooms to the point where it just makes you super happy.
I don't know anything about mushrooms.
Okay, so
never done them.
Oh, dude, it's the best high, and you can take them and just be super happy and not trip.
But some people have horrible trips. I got a buddy in again, I've never been a druggie or alcohol guy. My buddy in college, one of my best friends, this huge NFL guy, ended up going to the NFL. The whole house, my roommates took shrooms, and I was like off running or some bullshit, like a weirdo. I was supposed to be in college, but
Wait,
so
they
did shrooms, and he had a bad trip. I come in, and some of the guys are asleep, and I walk in his room, and he's a huge dude, and he's under his bed, and the bed's like teetering on his back.
Oh, no.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And he thought there was some crazy evil dragon in the room and thought he was safe under there. And I was like, all right, man.
I probably won't take those.
I'm never doing that. And he's a big, scary dude, and he was terrified.
Well, that's the thing. So I didn't take that much. I took enough to be happy for about 4 hours.
And they taste like shit, though, yeah?
Yeah.
Aren't they horrible?
Yeah, I don't know about you. Like, something has to taste so bad for me not to be able to eat it.
I agree.
Like,
or it's the texture, really.
Texture for me is more. Like, if I could eat something that tastes terrible, but if my banana's too mushy, I'm like, I can't fucking eat that.
Man.
I can't stomach. If you told me this plate of food is not great, is not going to taste good, but you're going to have great energy for 3 hours,
I'm eating it.
I could eat it.
I'm eating it.
Do you know what I mean?
There's a reason why athletes, for a while, there's a rumor going around that you could drink your urine, and any of the supplements you take, it's in the urine that your body doesn't use. So by putting it back in your body, you're getting those nutrients and the good supplements. there's a reason why athletes start drinking piss because it's like by any means necessary.
Dude, that sounds like something my older brother would
How
tell
crazy
me.
is that?
Did people fall for that?
Oh yeah, there's still guys who drink urine for sure. But
Get the fuck
there's a
out
famous
of here.
Lyoto Machida was the guy. He was on the UFC Countdown drinking piss, and then people were like, "Hey man, you can't do that." He got roasted and stuff.
Was it his piss at least?
Oh yeah, it's his piss.
Okay, yeah,
and
because-
then Tony, if you remember Romanowski, Bill Romanowski,
Yeah.
you remember him?
Well, he's insane.
Denver Broncos middle linebacker, Raiders, literally insane. I mean, he would literally just have piss in his refrigerator. Like, oh, can I eat some of this lemon Gatorade? That's piss, baby.
That actually, that doesn't surprise me that he did that. And it also seems like he might be a guy who finds a better athlete than him. And he's like, hey, you mind pissing in this bottle for me?
I agree.
Romanowski seems like the kind of dude who would even ask, like, if somebody had skills he didn't have, like LeBron, he'd be like, hey, you mind pissing in this bottle?
You mind if I just cup your shit real quick over here? Dude, he used to, because we had my good friend and trainer forever, man, 10 years, Lauren Landau at Landau Performance in Denver. He trains all the Broncos, and he was Romo's personal trainer for a long time. And I would work out after Romo. Romo was the guy, and he's always been a sweetheart.
Romanowski,
to me.
not
Romanowski.
okay,
Yeah, not Tony Romo, Romanowski. And he's always been a sweetheart to me. Some people have had issues with him, but he's always been great to me. But he was the guy that would squat a jagillion pounds, deadlift a jagillion pounds, bench, like a gorilla, but he wouldn't break down his weights. He'd just leave everything. And I'm like, my warm-up would consist of breaking down his weights. And you can't say anything because I was in college, trying to get the NFL. It's Romanowski, so I just kept my mouth shut and broke down those weights.
But
it's
you
like,
got to be
bro,
an athlete and put your weights away.
You have to, man. It's just it's bro code. It's guy code. Like, you can't, you're screwing over the next guy, man.
Yeah, you don't have sex with your buddy's ex-girlfriend and you re-rack the weights.
Boom. 1 and 2.
Wait, so you have been working out hard like this. I watched those videos of you. You've been working out like this for how many years?
Now I'm not doing so much grappling. I obviously do no sparring. But as far as I've been working out since 4th grade, man. As this intense workout. Now I'm just I like to compete against myself. I'm not competing against anyone. And now I just do it just to look good. Now I'm just trying not to blow up. Now I'm in entertainment.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you after who it was. I was on this audition. I ended up getting it. And they're like, how do we say this? Are you always this big? I was well, yeah. But I'm not, this is your world and Brian's. I'm like, well, yeah, I was born like this, I guess. Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
And my agent's like, dude, is there any way you can kind of slim down? I'm like,
You are slim.
yeah. I was like, I guess. The Rock's doing the damn thing. We got that. You're not The Rock, though, are you? I was like, no, I'm not. I'll slim down. So then I started this crazy. Yeah, that's what I was like, really? And I was like, I can do whatever I want, but it's a challenge. Not because I'm trying to please everyone. It's just a challenge. I was let's see.
I'm so curious to know, because you seem like a dude who gets a challenge and attacks it, right?
Yeah, I like it. And before you came in, I was saying we're leaving Fox. Our contract's up, and we've been going back and forth. I was like, man, I want to do it on my own. I'm building my own studio up the street.
Yeah.
And we're taking everything, and I just feel like for us to grow, I want to do it on my own, and it's a challenge.
I agree.
I want that. Yeah.
Well, I've been watching you on social media, and you're doing stand-up sets now.
Yeah.
I'm so curious as to because the progress when you train, you can see and feel, and it's always, as long as you're consistent, your progress is steady forward and up.
Kind of. Yeah, I hear you though. I get the point you're making.
As a stand-up, there's a lot of dips and valleys. Now, I will say one of the something that you have going for you that a lot of people don't is that you're walking into stand-up for a lot of people as a well-known commodity, which is a little different. So you can walk on with a little bit of more confidence and a little bit more swag. But what's the difference between attacking something where you're not seeing physical gains all the time? Do you know what I mean? Does it fuck with you mentally at all?
No, because I think A, it's the biggest challenge in my life, and B, with stand up, you there's two, and I'm stealing Bryan Callen's quote here. There's two things you can't fake: fighting and being funny.
Yeah.
You can't fake either of those. You just can't. So if I wasn't getting a positive response, I would, not that I'd stop doing it, but I'd be like, all right, we got to figure, maybe this isn't the road for you.
Right.
But it's been going good. And for me, it's, obviously I'm the underdog. I'm the big freaking guy who majored in sports. I'm supposed to be a dummy. So I get up there and I think I surprise a lot of people. And for whatever reason, the Comedy Store, which is, fucking the Hall of Fame for comics, and then the Laugh Factory, which I'm doing a set tomorrow night, which I see you're there all the time.
Yeah.
That stuff scares me, man. Like, so it's the message I give to everyone. If it doesn't scare you, it's probably not worth doing. And I'm terrified. Now, I don't go up every night like a lot of the, these up and coming comics, or I'm sure when you're starting out, you just get in wherever you could. I'm constantly doing reps, not every day, nonstop. Like I leave here, I'm working on stand-up, I'm doing these reps on my own nonstop, and then I'm doing these big shows at the Comedy Store. The live fighting the kid, it was really kind of my avenue to this because, and to Bryan's credit, he goes, hey, when we do the live shows, I think you should start with doing your own set. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm telling you, man, you can do this. Like, you're a really good storyteller. I think it would surprise everyone. It's going to add such a cool dynamic to the show if you start doing 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes turn to 15, and then 15 turn to 20, and then I have this material now, and then for whatever reason, freaking just blessed like a motherfucker. The Comedy Store and Laugh Factor is like, hey, man, we'd like you to come do a set. I'm like, this is Brendan of the Cauliflower Ears. Like, no, we know. We'd like you to come do a set. We heard, we've seen what you can do. I was like, shit, all right.
I will tell you, and I think that's amazing, dude. I have always said that I think there's 3 things that everybody in the United States should do. I think everybody should have to work a year in the service industry.
You'd be a lot nicer.
I think
and understanding.
100%. And you'll understand what the tip means, and you'll understand that not everything is your server's fault, or you're the person who's bringing out your shoes, or your Uber driver, whatever. Everybody should have to work a year in the service industry. 2, I think everybody should, one time, to push themselves outside of, it's so important to do shit that you're not comfortable with. Everybody should get in front of a room full of strangers and do 7 minutes of stand-up.
Or even it's 7 minutes of stand-up, or even a story.
A story.
Maybe it's in your office, something like that.
But I think everybody, because it really, and that's not for you, that's for you.
Yes, to grow.
So important. And you know what else I think? And I know this is going to be controversial. I think everybody should get punched in the face one time super hard.
No, that's fair. Yeah, because, and I always said this, especially when I lived in Boulder, because it's so many privileged white people there. They would act, and I'm like, you realize if I got out of this car, or the way you just talked to my friend who's African American who plays on the football team, if he wanted to, with you acting like it, he could get out and literally change your life for the worse, your entire family. But the only reason he doesn't is because A, he's a good person. B, there's this set of laws which you think is a bubble around you. But if he had nothing to lose, he would get out here and change your life.
And you know what else? It teaches people, I think it's important to know consequence.
True.
I think it's important to know, not that everybody should get punched in the face all the time for doing something stupid, but you should know that in the back of your head, I remember the last time that happened, I got punched in the face, and that didn't feel great.
You would act different.
I think so.
100%, you'd act different. I think it'd be humbling, and also, like as a professional fighter in a street fight, like let's say we're at a bar, I know if I hit a guy, what it's going to probably do exactly. And I realize the repercussions pretty much. You
mean by where you hit me? You could
where I hit you. What's the concussion? All that stuff. There's a lot that goes with it.
I know this is going to be the.
Oh, there he is.
What's up, man?
Apologize.
Josh, good to see you.
Don't apologize. What's up, man? Thanks for coming in, man.
I got
here.
Huge fan. Yes, sir.
Can I ask this? How?
Yeah. Then we'll introduce.
Okay. Then let me ask the final question because I'm super curious. How, when you throw a punch, not in the ring, because I know that you're with a professional. But say you and I were sparring. How precise could you get with your strikes? Like how precise? If you're like
to just like an average like person.
Do you know what I mean? Precise. Like if you were like, I'm not gonna hit him on the eye. I'm gonna hit him here.
Yeah, close for sure.
That's amazing.
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean
that's what makes McGregor so good, that he can land his.
Yes, when you text that, I told you, I said his accuracy and how precise he is.
I had never thought of fighters of being accurate before. Do you know what I mean? I thought of him being strong.
You came into a weird convo, my man.
I like weird.
What's going on, brother?
So you're not considering the math. It's real fractional.
I guess I had never thought of them being precise or accurate. I had thought of them
they're
being
just going.
Well, quick. I know they're aiming, but the word precise, I guess I had never thought.
It's the difference between just a guy and, it's no different than as a stand-up, like kind of, how you can ramble on instead of button everything, it's like practice constant. So it's
the
packaged
difference,
nice.
And it's the difference between good and great.
Yes.
It's like difference
or having
good,
a job as a fighter or working at Wendy's.
It's the difference between Jay Cutler and Tom Brady. They both have skills,
there you go.
But one puts it on.
Jay Cutler's
man.
way more athletic than Tom
Hold on.
Brady.
I want to just go in there, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Between being a fighter and working at Wendy's, that's your only other option?
That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
I wasn't sure.
Or Kinko's.
Okay,
Or
those are two.
Kinko's.
I just wasn't sure.
And all
So,
the Kinkos are out of business now. So
Cutler, Brady. So why do you pick Brady
Well, Brady's precise with his throws.
when he was younger? You're a Boston guy? Yeah.
Whoa, we're about to see some precise punches right now.
No, that's a great choice, of course, Brady. But
How are you doing, man?
I'm good.
Thanks
I'm good.
for coming down.
So I was late. I was driving around this building.
Don't ever apologize.
20
it's
minutes.
literally impossible. Every guest we have, but Josh has been here before and he's filling for Bryan Callen. But every guest we've had gets lost every time. It's
Okay.
Just where
Yeah.
Matt
I don't
West
feel
and-
so bad because you
No,
want
don't
to
at
get
all.
mad at yourself. Going, really? I'm a grown up. Really?
Yeah, and you turn down the radio like it's gonna help find it. You're like, where the fuck? You turn down the
Yeah.
radio.
It's really bad when you get lost and your GPS is telling you where to go, and you're like, "No, I see that, but I still don't know where I'm going right
There's
now."
nothing worse, and especially when you got to be on time.
Yeah.
Nothing worse.
With a minute to spare.
Where'd you come in from?
The Valley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
There you go.
But Waze goes, you've got plenty of time to get there.
Forget Waze, man. I don't use Waze anymore. I'd rather be 8 minutes late to the destination than left here, cut across 4 lanes, go right here. It's so stressful.
That's the
It
thing
is
about
so
Waze.
stressful.
Waze is like, you can get there 15 minutes ago, but you're gonna have to take a left-hand turn across 5 lanes
Yes.
with no stoplight.
you're,
like,
you're gonna
what?
you're gonna somehow have to triple X this car over the lane and then get there 6 minutes.
Triple
early.
X.
That scene from
old school.
Bowfinger.
Old school.
Yeah.
Which Triple X?
The first one with Vin Diesel.
The only one.
The only one.
The only Triple X.
He's making another one.
Yeah, he is
is?
making
Yeah,
another one. Yeah,
they're
he's
in the- I
making
think
another
they're
one.
done probably.
He's making another one.
They did make another one, yeah.
He's
He's not scared of a sequel, is he?
not
Vin Diesel
Ever.
is not scared of a sequel.
Fast and Furious 19 coming out.
Quietly, probably one of the wealthiest people in Hollywood.
For sure.
As an actor.
Yeah, because he has a portion of the Fast and Furious. Like, he's a producer.
Got a little taste.
He got a little taste. They have their own ride at Universal now.
What's the one where he can see in the dark, or the
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black.
I know, but
and then it was
name,
called
the, name,
the next
guy's
one.
name
They did another one
was the
just by
guy's
the
name.
name.
Yeah,
and they might have done a third one.
They may have.
I thought they only did 2. No, he's never scared of a sequel.
Not scared of a
though.
sequel. That guy.
Ever.
No,
Never.
What
That's
was
like the Expendables.
yeah.
They're going till the wheels fall off on that bad boy.
I just think they'll go until people die and more old people come.
Oh, well, there's always gonna be older action. That's what's
When's
next.
Callen gonna be in the Expendables?
Yeah, I mean, he needs to get.
I'll tell you what.
He needs to get on TRT and turn 60.
I'll tell you
and
what.
Chuck Norris
So
needs
next year.
to die.
Yeah, no, next year.
Yeah, next year. Chuck Norris needs to die.
He's going to be on with me. And it's just going to be the two of us, and I never fight.
Callen does all the fighting.
You're Charlie. You just call him. You're like, hey, I need you to go.
I'll tell you what I can't get enough of that I hope they keep making is Anchorman.
Yeah.
Well, we should have rolled those out as quickly as everybody else
Yes.
did their other ones.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, the first one wasn't that big a hit.
What?
People
What?
don't remember, it didn't make $100 million at the box office. It only made 84. They dumped it in August of that year. It only made 84 million. Only years later did it become this pop culture phenomenon. It became a cult hit and then a pop culture phenomenon, and then they said, okay, let's do it again. It's all about money.
Was 84 million not considered a good take?
No, it was 100 million is the hit. Because remember, the studio gets half.
Right.
Our first budget was 24, so P&A is going to be up to 40, so they just made money. Then on DVD, this one's DVD still works, so then DVD sales were pretty decent, but then on cable and pay-per-view, it's kind of started popping, and then when they finally kind of saw, when T-shirts start showing up saying milk is a bad choice, they're like,
Right, yeah.
we get it now.
Stay classy.
Yeah.
Yes, all that.
Yeah.
And then so then part 2, they're like, all right, fine, now we need a part, but it was a little late, yes? It was like Entourage did their movie in about 6 years. It was like, what the they're still alive? Like, what, I forget the end, the finale. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So
who
with
knows?
with Anchorman 2, though, you guys kind of expected it was going to happen?
That it is ever going to get made?
Yeah.
It was actually, excuse me, this is a true story. 2 years before we ended up making, I think 2010. So we made it in 2013. 2010, there was a rumor that it was going to get made. But the plan was, and this is not a bit, we were going to do a musical version of parts of the first Anchorman and what would be the second Anchorman on Broadway.
That's awesome.
Swear to
Amazing.
God. And we were going to run from the spring through the summer, and then in the fall, we were going to start making whatever the new movie was going to be at that time. And from what I understand, Paramount said, "What are you talking about? This is a terrible idea." But you've heard of the Marx Brothers, right?
Yeah.
That's how they used to do their movies. They would run them on Broadway for months, get all the jokes down, so they knew what worked, and then they would film them.
Oh, wow.
It's like doing a comedy special.
Yeah,
That's brilliant. So it's like them doing sets, and special.
Yeah.
exactly. So that was the idea. I wish we would have done it.
If there,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, if there was one movie that you've seen that you wish there had been a sequel, like, you know what it was for me, and this is kind of funny, but not. I wish there was a sequel right now to Jerry Maguire because I want to see Jonathan Lipnicki. Do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to see what he's doing. You know what I mean? But if there was like a sequel, can you think of something where you're like, that probably deserves a second movie?
I mean, there's plenty of I guess stories. I mean, but then you're going to get.
I mean, I'd love to see Schindler's List 2.
Yeah.
You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I'd love to see.
Schindler's List 2, he opens a bakery.
You're going to get us in trouble.
Well, I guess you'd say Better Days.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what you meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
He meant the uplifting side of it.
Yes, I need a more positive. It'd probably be in color this time.
Better Days.
Better days.
Schindler List in color.
Oh my God.
Schindler's second list?
I didn't know
Is that
the
what, but it's just like a to-do list?
Schindler's List, but longer. Yes.
And before anyone gets mad, I'm Jewish, everybody, and I'm not offended.
Yes,
Okay.
those are
Very
safe.
good.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
are
Just,
safe.
that makes half of us that are.
Okay, yeah.
No,
we know
we're-
this.
You're
in the
fine with Bannon. Okay.
Yeah.
this is the circle of trust here.
You talking about the guy who used to be the Hulk?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, that guy.
No, I'm talking about Race Bannon from Johnny Quest.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, okay with him too. Okay. Got it.
Was you said Anchorman 1 really wasn't a big hit till later? It was a cult kind of following,
Right.
So, but then Anchorman 2 did well.
I forget what it made. It was worldwide, so I think it made 170 or something. But again, when you compare it to The Hangover, those made 256.
Jeez.
So that's why you get a third one right away. With ours, I think, plus it was such a precious movie for people. To do the second one, I think people were like, and I don't know if you can curse on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay, I think people like, don't you fuck it up. And so no matter what we put out there, I felt there's a feeling like, not what I wanted. But I think it's one of those things. Sometimes it takes more than one viewing for people to go, oh, you know what, I love it.
I agree, but also again, and I think this is what caused kind of that pressure on you guys to deliver, and why people expect so much of part 2 is you took so long to put it out.
Sure.
Because it's the same with, and it's probably the worst part 2 of all time, but Dumb and Dumber 2, Dumber Dumber was. I mean, yeah, obviously use Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, but 20 years later, and they're both grown, older, grown. It's tough, man. But for you guys, I think it would have. Not that it didn't do well, but it would have been so much better too if it was like kind of close to after,
Right. It's all about money. It's
Yeah.
all about whether the studios think they can make money. It's like we have an emotional desire.
True.
So going back to your conversation that I walked in on, it's always down to the math.
Yes. Right.
Can you do a roundhouse and connect? Maybe.
Yeah.
Can you put it exactly where you want it? Yes. And then you can know what the result's going to be.
And now,
And then the man went to the floor.
Hey, listen,
Just
I'm
leave it
not
up.
going to lie to you.
Something just
A
fell.
little bit of shit came out.
that scared you. That scared you.
But I'm too old to startle me like that. You know what?
Sorry, man.
If somebody
You're getting up there. But
Funny thing is, I'm watching the whole thing.
I need a
transpire,
beta-
so I
anything.
just keep watching.
I need a beta blocker.
film
Like,
before, yeah. But the thing is about studios now, a lot of if there's a Marvel or DC comics, they're in because they know like moneymaker. No matter it's not
But I also-
creative really, but
It's money.
Greenlight
'cause
it.
That's what all.
The beautiful thing is too, like it's the beauty and the curse of a movie like Hangover is that because people love it so much, they're emotionally attached. They get a little precious with somebody else's work.
Yeah.
Right? That's why when things like, okay, so I love Stranger Things, that TV show on
yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Why'd you look at us like it's like you found it?
No, I didn't know if anyone's. I don't assume.
I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
I've heard it's great.
It's a
And
huge
kids
show,
can
though.
watch it, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that because just to find stuff that the whole family.
No, it's
would dig. Yeah,
amazing.
okay.
But my thing is like I almost don't want them to come out with a second season.
Ooh, I do.
I do, but I don't know that you're ever gonna live up to that hype now. And they set themselves up, and these are kids. And as an artist and somebody who writes, somebody who sees your first special and they watch the second special, like, not that fucking funny, dude. Well, listen, I'm doing what I can do.
Sophomore album.
Do you right?
Yep.
So with Stranger Things, I want it to come out, but it's gonna be impossible to live up to that. So when people have that emotional attachment to your movie,
Yeah.
it must be scary in that way too, where you're like,
There's a lot more pressure,
Yeah.
expectations.
Well, that's not for me. I mean, I'm honestly a hired hand
Right.
in that process, right? I'm not writing it. I'm not producing it.
Right.
So in that regard, I'm just happy that it's happening.
For sure.
So the stakes, everybody has 10 people on their shoulders. Do you know what I mean? When you think about who's the decision maker in this town, and it ultimately comes up to the money, like, great. How is he going to perform?
Right.
And they don't care. Stranger Things is tough because it's got to happen right away because these kids are going to age and change.
yeah.
You'll not see 11 at 21 doing the same shit,
yeah.
So that's the other tough part.
I hadn't thought of that. Like that's like Harry Potter. Like they had to do it back to back to back, or else
You're gonna, yeah.
Same
But
with
she'd
Lord
already
of
had
the
the book.
Rings.
Sorry,
Yeah,
But
go
she'd
ahead.
already had the source material, so they knew
Right.
they were going. That's a different, yeah.
True.
Like-
Same, with Lord of the Rings, we had one of the guys on here, one of the Hobbits. They filmed all of them through, like, it was like a 6-year process.
yeah.
They tied him up early in the contract because I was like, man, you must have made bank. He's like, they had the whole story, it comes from books, so they knew exactly where they're going. So they wrapped those boys into these crazy contracts.
And if they weren't stars already, I mean, yeah, hopefully they got some great back end, but
Yeah,
not
I'm
as
not
much
sure.
as you may have.
No,
Yeah.
not that you think. It's not like they did the first one. Like, oh, we got a hit on our hands. Like they knew what to expect.
Can I tell you a quick story?
By the way,
Love-
you should
would
explain
love
to
it.
people who aren't listening, who don't know, and they assume what they know about Hollywood. You should explain what a great back end means, because some of them might be like, "What's happening out
Yeah.
there in Hollywood?"
Yeah.
Oh, it's when the picture performs well, you get part of the profits.
Yeah.
The big stars get huge.
I don't know. I said you want to hear a story. I guess I can tell it. All right. So this is I made this movie called Krampus last year, March, April, part of May, and so we're down in New Zealand shooting, and so we had dinner with Peter Jackson one night, and I'm just like, oh no, thinking what they talk about pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do I have to talk to Peter Jackson about? He's a brilliant man. Like,
Yeah.
okay, not intimidated. Okay. And we all decide we get invited as a cast and the producers and the director. And we all decide, let's don't sit together because that'll be weird. Like, we don't want to clump. I'm like, okay, great. We'll all kind of separate. So I sit at one end of the table. Who sits next to me?
Peter Jackson.
Right. And I'm just like, what am I going to... Let's talk about
Thinking
you got
how to
kids.
sound
My
smart.
point of reference to you is I can't go deep in what his film canon is. Like I didn't know his first film, which was a horror film, I guess, right? And I should have prepped before I got there in the first place, just on the off chance. So we're just talking comedy. What are his favorite comedies and all that stuff? Buster Keaton, by the way, was his guy.
Really?
Yeah. Because I would talk Abbott and Costello, Marx
Yeah.
Brothers, Buster Keaton. Of course, I've not seen it. I'll admit it on your podcast. I've not seen The General, which is Buster Keaton's finest work. Anyway, or is it Trainwreck? What the fuck? Anyway, so we're sitting there, and he's telling a story about how hard it was to find the Elijah Wood character, and apparently he had sent in a tape, and that's how he got picked. They'd looked at 200 people, and he also said that they'd offered Gandalf to. God, the name just went out of my head.
Did they offer it to the guy who was the Star Trek?
No, sorry, James Bond.
Oh, Daniel Craig,
No, the original.
Brosnan? No.
Roger Moore,
No, I'm so sorry.
Sean Connery.
Thank you, Sean Connery.
I feel like you and I just played $25,000 pyramid.
I know. And
I was like this.
get it. Yes,
Thing next.
Josh, please. And everyone, and everyone in the audience is frustrated with me. It's like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with him? Good Lord, Daryl Hammond. How do I help you? So anyway, apparently they'd offered it to him, and because they didn't have a star in the picture, and this is before Peter Jackson was a huge director, they were going to give him huge back end on the movie, right? And I think he was at Cannes or something, and they said, "What's your next project?" Something like, "This is the worst Sean Connery you're ever going to hear, folks." But something like, "I don't know, some fantasy picture they're offering me. I don't think I'm going to do it." And so apparently he would have made like $120 million had he agreed to it back then, because he would have been the biggest star in the picture. But so that's my Peter Jackson story. Not a great one, and
No,
I screwed it. Let's face it, I screwed it up all along the way.
I have to tell you,
forgot names.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I forgot names and details. I didn't set it up very well.
Sean Connery might have pulled me out of that picture. Sean Connery might have pulled me out of that.
No, because I look at him. He's Indiana Jones' dad. You know, he's James Bond.
He doesn't bring a knife to a gunfight. Like, he's so iconic.
And you don't think of him as a Shakespearean actor, which ultimately became who Gandalf was, and so Sir Ian McClellan. I do know that much.
I nerd out on those movies.
Yeah,
I
loved him.
Me too.
Loved him.
I love them too. I nerd out on that stuff, and I'm always so into the entertainment side of things and those that story to me, that stuff is great to me. Like Sean Connery, hey man, he should probably fire his manager or agent who's like, it sounds pretty lame, man. And you're around little hobbits, let's be real.
What is this?
You're James Bond. He's like, you're right.
Yeah. Fantasy source material? Come on, it'll never play.
And
Someone
lo
should
and
be fired.
behold,
someone should be fired. It's the same thing, with the George Foreman grill and Hulk Hogan. They originally offered to Hulk Hogan. He's like, a grill that you squeeze fat out of? That's stupid.
I'm going to make a sex tape instead.
Yeah, his wife was like, that's a terrible idea. Go with the energy drink. And obviously, have you ever heard of a Hulk energy drink? Me neither.
No.
Have you heard of the George Foreman grill? Of course. George Foreman made more money off that grill than he ever did fighting or anything like that. But they offered to Hulk first. He's like, that grill's stupid.
But you also have to agree that you're done doing anything else. You're now just a pitch man.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know if Hulk at that point was still doing any small parts in movies.
Not really. He had a reality show.
Oh, right.
With his family?
He had the Hulk Hogan reality show on VH1 or whatever it was. And then obviously George Foreman's doing nothing.
Well, now he's doing Invent Help.
Yeah, and you know what? At some point in time, like at 50, I think it's time to hang up. He's okay for him to hang up the gloves. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't retired boxers, they were hoping to become a greeter in Vegas. And I don't mean disrespect.
No, you're right.
But that's what happened. The Vegas casinos would let's throw him a bone.
Correct.
Here you go. Just be a greeter in Vegas. We'll give you a salary. Yeah. You're an attraction.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, Pete Rose forever, not a boxer, but Pete Rose forever was in Vegas contractually, and he was just staying in front of, I forget, the Field of Dreams was a store, and he'd just be there and
I'm sure that helped his standing with the
you thought it was
baseball.
You thought it was a mannequin, then that's really Pete Rose. Yeah, I'll take an autograph. He'd be like $100.
$100 for an autograph?
Yeah, you just sit there he's there Monday through Friday and shit.
Is he
like,
still
God,
there?
you're the best hitter of all time, and this is what you're doing, man? Can I get you a buffet or some shit? Or what do you want to do, man?
Yeah.
Well,
now he's doing better because he's on he's on Fox Sports doing the World
for
Series
baseball.
breakdown.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's back because he was a little outlandish. I
The
don't know
three
if
of them together, A-Rod, Pete Rose, and Frank Thomas.
A-Rod's brilliant though. A-Rod, granted, he took a shitload of steroids and a liar, blah blah blah. Amazing baseball player, but as an analyst, he is really, really good.
You know
Pete
why I
Rose
don't
was
like
like
him?
the, it was a fine symphony, and he was the honk, like he was the trumpet.
He was the comic
God
relief.
damn it, but just he was the old weird uncle of
I
the
didn't
family.
like A-Rod because he was too stiff. You could always see him looking down at his notes and then pretend to be off the
Stats.
cuff.
Yeah,
Who you're if you're gonna be the guy who's reading off the sheet, read off the sheet. But don't pretend to be off the cuff and then keep looking down at your pre-written sentence.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
Just be
real.
Yeah.
He has to get comfortable too. It's the first time it's World Series. He's never done it before. World
that's my
Series.
problem with him in general is that he pretends to be somebody else.
His retirement speech was tough when he read.
Yeah, just be the guy you are, which is a guy who's scared to make mistakes, a guy who's scared to mess up, a guy who's very pre-recorded, pre-wrote, and just go or admit that. But don't try to be the guy.
Sure.
Don't. That's my thing with him. That's why I don't like him.
People say that he always knew what pitch was coming, like he was given the pitches.
Rigged.
Wow. That's what I've
Now
heard.
listen, you and I are doing a show tonight together.
Are we?
Are you
at
really?
the Improv.
Okay, you're doing 10 o'clock?
At the 10 o'clock show.
The 88?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you start doing stand-up?
No. I've only been doing it for about 6 years.
So I'm so curious about the both of you. He's just started too. What draws you? For him, it was a challenge in something.
For me, I think, challenge. But also, all my close friends are comedians, and they're like, "Dude, I'm telling you, quit getting punched in the face. do this. Like if you can make us laugh, we're around funny shit all the time. You should be doing this.
And so what drove you 6 years ago to, I'm always curious.
5 kids.
Got it. Yeah.
Just get out of the house.
Yeah.
I tell you the honest truth. It was downturn in the economy. So 2008, the stock market takes its shit, right?
Yep.
Housing bubble bursts, all that stuff. Things are great in Hollywood. And then about 2010, it always takes a couple years to catch up on Hollywood. Jobs I would normally always just get in movies, stars started taking. And I was like, whoa, something's going on here. Mm-hmm. And so I said to my agent, and I've always done live all my life. That's where I started. I started doing long form improv and sketch and all that stuff. And I've always done character pieces. I had a show called The Naked Trucker and T-Bone Show for years at Largo. So I've had tons of, live performance.
Saturday Night Live too.
SNL,
Yeah.
sure. So I noticed that things were kind of pulling back a little bit. And I thought, well, I just got to have a side business in case, because I can never have a down month.
Right.
Or, a lot of times you'll have most of your year booked out. But if you don't, you start some shrinkage. You're like, well, I better make sure I've got something in October set already. So I called my agent one day. I said, can you get me on the road? She called the next day with 11 gigs. So I was like, okay. But I had 3 months out to develop an act. So I just put together a bunch of character pieces at the time. It was more like a one-man show. I think people were like, what is going on? I thought I was just going to be, what's happening?
Yeah.
This is
2010? Yeah.
So Anchorman is out. People know you for Anchorman.
Oh, the first
all
one.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
And The Office.
Yeah, and also you've done a ton of stuff.
Yeah, a
but I'm
bunch
just
of other
saying,
stuff.
Yeah.
So they're expecting, whammy guys just going to come do whammies.
Yeah.
I would pay for that though.
Yeah.
Whammy.
But by the way, people who bought tickets for Chris Kattan on the road, I would hear stories where he would not come out and do any of his SNL stuff. He was like, no, that's not what I do. And people were like, well, that's why we're here. At least, and I had a club owner who said, I just tried to talk him into walking out to the Night at the Roxbury music. Just walk out to it and do the neck thing just for the crowd. That will hold them for an hour. Yeah. And he was very reticent to do it.
But you go on the road, so then you did those characters.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't do Champ. Well, I would do lines from the movies.
Right.
So I would do characters, some you've seen, some you haven't, plus just jokes from, stuff you make up. Because I worked on an act for 3 months here in town, because as you guys know, you get tons of sets and all that stuff. Sure. So you just go out and get some jokes, right?
Right.
And then you string it together with whatever else you're going to do. And then I realized on the road, now in town, I'm never going to do lines from Anchorman, but out on the road, I know what got him there. The picture they use in the comedy club is a picture of Champ Kind. You go out there and go, with whammy at the top.
It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, I would usually build it in somewhere halfway through the show or early in the show. You kind of feel the crowd out. If there's just a guy out there going jonesing, like, you better. You get it out of the way, which is fine.
And give them what they want.
Of course.
I toured with Larry the Cable Guy for years, and I toured with him after he was done with a lot of his get her done. He was like, I don't really do that in my jokes as much anymore, but he would walk on stage and he would say, thank you, everybody, get her done. And that, he was like, I have to do that.
Check the box off for
It's
him.
like Journey, not if you went out and played and Journey didn't play Don't Stop Believing. You're like, well, what the fuck am I here for?
My girl's parents went to a Hall & Oates concert at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
And they started playing. They're like, we got some new stuff.
Fuck
We're going to
yeah.
try out. Dude, they went through 4 songs and people were like, boo.
Yeah. Rich girl.
Sarah Smiles, you fucks. And they're like, all right, hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, man eater. Fucking.
When I went to Old Cella, that was a thing. Like, when Roger Waters started playing some new music, we were like, hey, dude.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Like,
Hits only.
Yeah.
Hits only.
Rolling
Only.
Stones knows that better than anyone.
Oh, the Stones
they're
play
not
2
doing
hours of
anything.
hits.
Yeah, just hits. They're not giving, hey, we've been working on some new stuff. Absolutely not.
No.
What are you doing?
There is, I tell you, part of me just feels a little like it's cheating.
The hits, you mean?
Self-conscious of
You
it?
got to get over that. It's like, this isn't cheating. Because I felt like, is this hack? When I first started.
Yeah.
Like, is this hack? Oh, God. Should I be embarrassed? But no, this is what they're here for.
I think
You've gotta
the
give it
word
It's also
hack.
a talent. Like,
Yes.
you have a crazy talent, too, with it, you know?
But
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and that's great to hear. But really, he's like,
it's not. Look, I think people get a little precious with comedy, and I think people get a little precious with I'm a hardcore comics comic. No, your job is to entertain the crowd that's sitting in front of you.
That's right.
And if your crowd wants to hear that character, That's what they paid for.
Right.
Now, listen, there may be a guy who's hack and does old jokes. And you know what? It's not my job to ridicule him. He will only go so far. That's his choice.
No, yeah, it's very
Right?
short-sighted.
Yeah. So-
if he's not growing and doing it,
Not up to
believe
me.
it will catch up with him. But when you're
Yes.
constantly evolving, for me, same thing. Like I have a set tomorrow night at the Laugh Factory, and I saw one promotional piece where they used a UFC headshot, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, God damn it, man! But some people might say, "Oh, I watched Brendan fight in the UFC. I'd love to see him try and make me laugh." But I literally right away, just to your point, I shut down. I was like, "Oh, I'm not promoting that. I'm gonna make my own graphic."
It makes
now.
us self-conscious, but really that's what
Isn't
got
it
him
weird?
there, and that's I know we should embrace it
Yes.
and get over it because the room isn't filled with comics who
No.
are judging. It's our own judgment of ourselves,
You're
and
right.
that doesn't exist unless we put it there.
You're right.
But I would love to see you come out up on stage and do a high leg kick over the microphone and go, "You what?"
Is this what you came for?
Not even that. Just no. You get in a fight with a mic.
I choked myself out with the mic. I used to start off our live Firing the Kid. We do the touring, national touring with Firing the Kid. I used to start off, I'm like, all right, everyone, I'm up here for 10 minutes. I'm just going to shadow box. So get out your notepads and take some notes. Like, that's how it
Hilarious.
start off. You know?
You should have somebody get up there and check your mouth and put the Vaseline on your face.
I just can't, man. Like, I'm self-conscious of
I'm
that.
just kidding.
If someone mentions fighting, I kind of shut down these days a little
Yeah.
bit. When I first got to UFC, I was in the NFL. I had a cappuccino with the Buffalo Bills. But whenever someone go, "Oh, you're the football player who's fighting," I go, "No, I'm a fighter." And you're almost, it's almost like you're a snail and you're going from shell to shell, or like a crawdad. Because for me, you want to be taken serious. As a fighter, I want to be taken serious. As a comic or as an entertainer, I'm embarrassed to say I'm even a comic. I don't even say comic. I say I'm an entertainer. I'm here to entertain. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not Josh Wolf. I'm not Bryan Callen. I'm kind of my own thing, man.
By the way, I'm
just
not
trying
Joe
to
Rogan
entertain.
either.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
yes.
But to your point, yeah, I'm very self-conscious of it.
Is there anything that you guys take from fighting or from acting that helps you with stand-up?
I would assume so. Because I think a lot of my show is performance. Even though I try to put in as many jokes as I can, a lot of time my pieces are story modular and jokes inside that.
Right.
So that's like because people always go, "So tell me about your stand-up," which is another weird question. It's like, well, describe your personality. It's hard to do.
Right.
Yes.
It's loud.
Yes.
That's what loud and better than church is what I say.
Do you take anything from fighting in this? Like, do you know what I mean?
I
Is there
think the
anything you learned?
confidence that you have to get in the octagon in your underwear and fight another trained animal. Just that kind
I
of
had
confidence.
never thought of it that way
Underwear.
before. Yeah. Underwear versus an animal.
Yeah, that confidence, I think, but also, stand-up's scary, man. Stand-up can be super scary. So I think it's just dealing with those nerves and knowing how to channel that energy and still perform. That helps. But also, I was a good fighter, stuff like that. But and Bryan, I tell you the same thing. Like, I feel like this led me to this road, and this is what I was meant to do. Like, I love to perform. I love being really creative. There's nothing better. I'm working on this new bit, and there's nothing better when I did it in Palm Beach and I get a laugh. Like, dude, you can keep any world champion belt. You can keep any highlight knockout I've ever had. That by far kills it because it's all me, man.
Right.
It's all me.
And the entire audience agreed.
Yes.
You got it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and also it's like, man, I'm a zebra amongst these lions, and that's a terrible example. I'm a zebra amongst these elephant because name another athlete who can do that. It's really challenging, man.
Do you know what else is equally? It's not as exciting, but you get the same type of rush in a opposite way. Is when you think of something when you're like, oh, this is gonna crush. Like, I am so excited to tell this joke. And you get on stage and you put it right in the sweet spot, like Following Friends. You know it's gonna get ratings. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I'm putting this after Friends. I'm gonna fucking kill the rating. And you put it and you tell it with such gusto and such bravado, and it's like crickets. You're like, well,
You're like,
what the fuck
is
is
happening?
happening?
Maybe I didn't say it right. Let me try that again.
Oh, you try it a couple more times, and
Never works.
There is a joke that I do still every time I tell. It's a joke inside one of my stories, and I fucking tell it every time because I'm like, I must be telling it wrong because this is funny, and I'm not joking.
6 years deep, nothing.
I've told it 60 times.
Let it go, bro.
Never even like a nothing. It's like a segue almost. I'm like,
Moving on.
I remember one night I was like, that shit is funny, everybody, and they were like, no.
Laugh.
And they hate it. They hate it when the comic says you don't get it. Now, have you ever asked any of your buddies to watch this piece
Yes.
and go, and have they gone like, I'm not sure.
No, listen, there's a couple comics who I trust are like, that should get a better laugh. And one of my friends was like, it's not getting as big of a laugh or a laugh at all because it's sandwiched in between two good laughs.
Oh, it's running order.
And it's just not.
You gotta switch it up.
Yeah. A lot of times, and this is when you say running order, there are jokes that I can't tell in town because I only have 15 minutes. And you don't like me enough in 15 minutes for me to be able to tell this story. It's something that you learn very quickly. Like if I was more well known, I could do it in town because then everybody there is like, oh, I know this guy.
They know your flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
But running order is really important. You start to learn that the more you're on stage about, I can't tell that joke up front. I can tell it 30 minutes into an act because they know me. They know that I'm not that much of an asshole. They know I'm more mischievous.
You're a good guy.
Yeah.
You're having a good time.
But you tell
They're
it
not
like-
going to judge you.
there's a story I tell about wrestling my son. Now, and the premise of the story is every man in America at one point looks at their dad and they think to themselves, oh, I could beat the fuck out of this dude.
Yeah.
Like whether you do or you don't, but you get a little juice
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, I'm going to beat that old ass someday, right?
Yeah.
So that's the premise of the story. And it's a long story. When I tell it in town, I have to open with that. And so the story is all about this dude that people don't know figuring out a way to beat up his son. And it just doesn't work here because I haven't greased them up enough to tell them other stories about my son. And my relationship
Yeah,
with him is
super
right.
close. But
So-
if Chris Rock did it, it'd wreck the house.
Because they
Yes.
already have that
They know Chris
relationship with
Rock.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back and I'm sure both of you guys being in entertainment, I think the other thing that helps me out with having a athletic background, especially in professional sports, is how cutthroat it is, and you get told no, and you got to constantly work. In entertainment, how many no's do you get? How many auditions where
who knows?
And
I
if you
mean,
take it personal, you would have
no.
packed up and went back home by now.
Well, for me, I mean, of course, and it's the same. I'm guessing for an athlete, you just go, I don't care. I've already chosen this path. This is what I'm going to do.
How far in did you hit the I don't care? It couldn't have been right away, was
Well,
it?
I honestly, for me, I didn't start till I was 24. So once I made my decision in my mind, I knew it was going to work. What I didn't have was the mathematical plan of going, after 3 years, I'm going to be here. After 6 years, I'm going to be here. I was like, it's going to happen. So I'm more of a roundhouse guy going, something's got to land because I'll swing at anything.
Yeah.
And
You grew up and you were always funny and you wanted to be a performer? Like you knew this is what you wanted to do?
no, I'm from a small town in Missouri, so I'd never met an actor. I didn't know how a person goes and does anything like that. Yeah, I was funny, but half the time it's annoying, half the time it's funny, half the time it's stupid. A lot of times it's smart, and then they don't get it, and you're like, what do you mean? And then you go, oh, I got to get out of here. So then you do get out of there. Then I was a poli-sci major because I never.
Where?
I was at Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas for 2 years, then the University of Missouri for a year and change. And
That doesn't add up to 4 years, by the way.
I know. I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree.
That's the Missouri. That's the Missouri Tigers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tigers.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Great
played
season.
it. Yeah.
I think they've won 2.
Top
But the thing is,
SEC.
from Tipton, Missouri, who am I going to tell I'm going to be a theater major? Or
Right.
even looking back, I would have been an art history major and maybe a theater minor or an English minor or something like that. But coming from Tipton, Missouri, am I going to go, yeah, I'm going to major in theater? They were like, no, what are you doing?
Right.
No. Poli-sci seems to lead to a lawyer or something that,
Right.
might be productive.
But with your kids growing up here, do you think they're going to follow your tracks? Because in LA now, not that there's a blueprint to making entertainment at all. There's really someone can't say, oh, do this, this, and this, and you're going to be the next Justin Bieber. You're going to be the next, whoever. There's really no blueprint. But
You
at
saying
least
I could
there's
still be
outlet.
Bieber?
You could be at 50. But there's outlets, there's at least you will go to this acting class or Nickelodeon Kids, stuff like that.
Right. At least there's a pathway here that's all available to you. I treat, of course, like any kid, maybe you want to go in the family business, right? Firemen's sons sometimes become firemen, cops' sons becomes cops, that kind of things. That kind of things. Wow. Good.
You're good, man.
Talk good, mine.
Talk good,
My
man.
mouth. So my oldest boy and he's 17 now, has kind of said, maybe I want to be an actor. But I don't think he quite understands what the path is. He thinks, he's my son. He'll probably just get jobs. Like, that's not the way it works, son. You got to go to class. You got to get good. Why don't you join, the theater department at school? He's like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to lecture him because you know how far that gets. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, let's start. Once basketball's over, then we can start doing some acting classes, private coaching, whatever you want, and then test it out. And he also said he wants to try stand-up. I'm like, absolutely. Do it, son.
Love it.
Because there's classes you can take. I mean, aren't classes in Tipton, Missouri. You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
So at least he has that availability. And you'll find out in 8 weeks, like, do I want to do this or nah, that's fine.
But do you warn them on how tough a business is? Because people, just for listeners out there, less than 1% of actors actually make a living being an actor.
I don't.
It's harder than pro sports.
Right.
Is it really?
The odds of you making it as a performer, entertainer, actor in Hollywood, your chances are way less than being in the NBA or NFL.
So I'm not as much of a failure as I thought I was?
It depends. I don't know what you bring home, sir. I don't know what kind of money we're talking about.
Trying to
define failure
math right now.
But, people always ask me, my girl has crazy genetics. I have decent genetics. My son at 8 months is ahead of the curve as far as movement. He's walking and he's advanced in these other classes, whatever.
He's Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, yes, he's Ken Griffey Jr. So
he's putting other toddlers in armbar.
yeah, so people are like, "Oh, are you going to let him be a professional athlete?" I'm like, "Well, it's not even. Am I going to let him?" But what I do know, having my background, is it's very easy to see if he has the skill set to make a living doing this at a very early age. If he's just an average guy in high school football, he's the guy with the neck roll on and he's playing middle linebacker and he's the captain, but he's not fast. He's just a hard worker. I'm going to tell him, "Hey, buddy, like, I'm telling you, at the next
Rudy.
level, you're not going to make it."
Yeah.
Rudy's a great movie. He was offsides. You're not going to make it.
By the way, I think
If we were going to commercial, we'd be right there.
Yeah, and we'll be right back. I think more parents should be honest. Like my dad,
They don't know, though.
But my
They
dad
just
was,
they unless it comes from. But that's why you see. So I don't mean to interrupt you. But that's why you see so many that I forget the statistic, but especially in the NBA, NFL now. So it's not even the 6 degrees of separation. It's even less than that. Someone in their close family was a professional athlete, and now they're because they can go, "This is what you to expect. You have the skill set. I can continue doing this." My dad had no history in athletics at all.
Yeah.
He played high school, maybe had a cappuccino with the Navy football team. And was like, "All right, fuck this," and he's missing a
you
finger.
keep saying cappuccino instead of cup of coffee.
Yeah, because cappuccino's real small.
Yeah.
So it's like, coffee, I can take my time and sip. Cappuccino's just a shot. Yeah, sorry.
I'm like, we're fancying it.
Yeah. Buffalo, New York. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, thank
He
you
had
for
a
your
cup
time.
of non-fat cappuccino with a little squeeze of lemon.
How old is that expression? Because the first time I heard it was when Robert De Niro said it in
What, cup of coffee?
in that Benicio del Toro movie where he cut out his arm. What was that movie? He was like a killer or something. He says he went up to the majors for a cup of coffee.
Oh, are you talking about the fan?
Thank you.
Where Wesley Snipes
Yeah.
plays Barry Bonds?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is what it is.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
But
I don't know.
But it's a very old athletic.
I'm sure I got it from someone. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I heard cup of coffee, and to me, I was like, well, cappuccino's smaller. And I was literally with Buffalo for 3 days.
Is that
And
right?
People are like, oh, you played in the NFL. I'm like, what? Well, I was in training camp, and they're like, hey, we're all set on Shaw business. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we saw him. Is he
no,
still
we-
here?
Yeah.
We saw him the first time.
Who? The kid drinking the cappuccino on the sideline there.
He's
who,
enjoying
Who
his
we didn't
cup
give an
of cappuccino.
opportunity
Yeah.
to. The one that got one play got hit in the face with a football. Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
Looks good on the back of a jersey.
You can tell, and I didn't obviously play professional sports. I don't know if you can tell or not, but you can tell, like when my kids were playing and I was coaching baseball, where people were like, I think my son is going to go to the next level. I'm like, I am telling you 100%. I played college baseball. I was better than a lot of the people I grew up with. The difference between me and professional is night and day.
Right. But was there anyone on your team who went to the pros and was successful? Because when you're around a guy who's great in college, and then he goes to the pros and he's good, I grew up with those guys, and it's like, okay,
It's a different
with
level
my
athlete.
son, I'm just gonna be like, dude, I'm telling you, it's gonna be heartbreak for you. The life lessons you're gonna learn in high school and stuff like that is great, but for you to chase maybe the Division II scholarship you got for football, focus on your education, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I also think it's important for parents to be honest. You know, I appreciate what my dad did for me. He encouraged me in the areas that he knew that I had some skill at. Like, I'm a terrible drawer. But I didn't know that until the first day. Like, my brother used to sketch these amazing comic book artists, like amazing stuff. And I wanted to be like my brother. So one day I was drawing these comic book, these incredible, like he was doing these incredible superheroes and I was doing the same thing. So we go down to my dad and my brother shows it to him. My dad's like, this is really good. You should keep doing this. Like, you have a real skill. And I handed him my drawing. My dad goes, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
And I never drew again. But no, don't. I'm
How old
fucking
were you?
horrible. 9.
That's tough at 9.
But no,
old.
he was
That's a little
right.
tough.
Young,
No,
man, little
he
young.
was right.
well, even your brother being a great artist, for him to go, I think you're gonna be the next fucking Picasso. Like, that's a little extreme. Like, to make money as an artist,
he just
even if you're
encouraged him.
amazing.
He
yes,
encouraged him to keep
appreciate
going.
that, though. I mean, I'm going to judge your father at all, because it's a different time too.
Yeah,
because
different
like,
time.
You
Different
know,
time,
you
yeah.
can't. Yeah, you're not going to be quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, every kid wants to be quarterback, and even at that level, my 10-year-old is in flag football. We see who's got wheels. You know from sixth grade, a 6-year-old flag football,
Yes.
who's got wheels,
Yeah.
and everybody gets one fast guy, and they
Yes.
blaze, and that's it. And hopefully the other fast guy on the other team can catch him.
Yes.
When my son told
100%.
me he wanted to play in the NBA, I was like, listen, dude, we're Jews. Like, that, there's no chance.
Maybe
You might own a
baseball.
team. You could own a team, but you're
You
not
can own
playing
the
in
team. You can
NBA.
you can manage
maybe
the
coach.
way more athletic black guys, but for you to compete with them ain't happening, sir.
Temple Beth Hillel does not school a great basketball team every year for a reason, right? So just know your lane. That's all.
Your
I'm saying.
family was supportive.
No, they didn't. Well, it wasn't until I was older. So
Even
they-
at 24, to tell your parents you're doing this, it's like, God damn it.
Well, they were kind of like, I think internally they were having discussions that I wasn't privy to till years later. They kind of told me they were really nervous.
Yeah.
Because my dad said, "Well, how long are you going to do that?" And I knew that they needed an answer, and I said 10 years.
It's a long time.
Well, to me, I
Well,
was
so
like,
he wasn't thinking of it as a career.
"Oh, they weren't. They were like, what's he doing? Where's he go? He's moving to Chicago." What? I mean, I'm from a town of 2,000 people. These people had never even lived in a city. So for them, they couldn't conceive of, where are you going to do what?
And you went to Chicago for Second City?
Yeah. And
Who
also
was in the
IO.
company then
That's
at
the
Second
cream
City?
of the crop.
Well, it depends. So the 10-year period that I was in Chicago was maybe the most, I don't know, maybe the most talent that ever come through there in 10 years. I was there with Mike Myers, Chris Farley, Andy Richter, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Horatio Sands, Rachel Dratch, Stephen Colbert, Steve Carell, Nancy Walls, John Glazer. There's tons of Conan and Colbert writers that you don't even know.
That's
Amy
amazing.
Sedaris. It's amazing. So you're there now. Those at the same time, you don't know all these. McKay was there at the same time. You don't know these people are going to become superstars. You just like, wow, there's a lot of good players.
Right.
That's what you think.
Did that push you?
Probably. I mean, I don't know.
But you had to audition to get into that squad, right?
Well, not to get into class.
okay.
So you're all in classes together, and eventually everybody just kind of starts bubbling up, right? And then they get hired into a company, and then they get hired to another job or whatever. I got hired before a lot of people did, and they all eclipsed me. So
I'm sure talent recognizes talent. Like, wow.
That's probably
'Cause
part
come
of it,
from
yeah.
Missouri, you're like, okay. I mean, I got some competition here.
well, what I realized was like, okay, I feel like my level of play is equal to the other people that I respect. That's what you kind of notice.
When you say level of play, how much are you allowed to do that? Because say in a movie like Anchorman, where there's so many spontaneously funny people in there, how much level of play are you allowed in something like that?
Well, in that one in particular, that's an outlier, I guess you'd say, because McKay is the director and writer, and so and Farrell is the other writer.
Mm-hmm.
They come from an improv background, so they already know going in. In fact, when we were rehearsing, we did a lot of improvisation, so that's part of the process. As opposed to there's the rehearsal and the process is going to be improvising as well. Now, I didn't know we were going to improvise that much on camera, but that's part of also what makes you like if you were running in sports, if you decide let's just run and gun, we're not going to do a design play.
Right.
So we know we're going to do a play, and then off that play, let's don't run a play.
Yeah.
That's like the closest analogy I can think of.
And so when you walk into a scene like that, you know what the beginning and middle and end are supposed to be?
We are going to shoot what's scripted first.
So
we got
do
it.
the page.
From there.
Yes. Then once we already know we got it in the can, there's nothing to lose. That's what, their idea
That's
is.
brilliant.
And is that the difference between a movie with a bigger budget than a smaller budget? Whereas a smaller budget, you may not be able to do that many takes?
Well, now the difference used to be you were shooting on film, and that's more expensive to process, and now it's all shot digitally, so it doesn't matter. Just leave the camera
you
rolling.
just take whatever they
you just
want.
You just burn it. Doesn't
And how special is Will Ferrell in that stuff? Like
I
he
mean,
has the gift. Yeah,
yeah, of course. Will is again not like everybody
He's
else.
an outlier when you guys do that.
Yes, there's something very special about that guy, no question.
But the whole cast, like for me, and I include you in there, and
Thank
Steve
you.
Carell, like
Carell's amazing.
there were a couple of just one single lines in that movie where I was like, oh, this dude is the funniest person in the world.
Right. I don't know if I Love Lamp was scripted.
No, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In the outtakes, they show him going just nonstop.
Yeah.
Just boom. And
Yeah.
those are the special moments, Like, if you wrote that stuff and you showed it to a suit, an executive, they're like, I Love Lamp. That's stupid.
Right. And
Lammy,
I think that's what
stupid.
That's what happened with the first movie. I don't think they quite knew what they had.
Right.
They watched it, and if you remember, the slogan for Anchorman 1 was, "We'll bring you the news so you don't have to go out and get it." What? Now that wasn't written by McKay or Farrell.
Right.
That's a marketing person. It's like, well, that's not as good as I Love Lamp.
No,
Yeah,
that's
no.
nothing. I
That's
Love
like-
Lamp. I'm seeing.
Oh, I would have been like, what?
I'm like, this is stupid.
Right.
Because you
But-
have these creative souls, man, and just let them do their thing.
Yeah. It's stupid, but it's also very funny. It's very, very smart.
Yes.
So I always liken it to a hard satirical center covered in cotton candy. So there's all this fluff that's just ridiculous, but every once in a while there's a satirical point. You're like, oh, that's right, that happened. But we don't, hit it exactly on point.
I feel now, especially the way you look at entertainment and with the streaming and the digital side of things, because you see like on Fallon now, they might get, let's say, 2 million viewers, which would be a high number, 2 million viewers for the Tonight Show. Mm-hmm. But they're doing bits in that show so they can upload the next morning to YouTube, and they're getting 40 million views.
Wow.
So they're really focused. You'll see a bit now that they literally go over and think, all right, this is for YouTube and digital. Not really the show. They're not going to get the dynamic, but the next morning we're going to get 40 million views.
He produces that show in 3 to 5 minute segments, so he can lift it. It's
digestible.
It's the smart thing to do. Like it's not a Carson long form interview.
Right.
He's producing that show so he can lift 3 to 5 minutes out
that,
anywhere he
but
wants.
But that's what works, and I
Yes.
think in the entertainment day and age we're in now is that uptight kind of, we're sticking to script. This is what we're doing. What works now, and you see it really all over the place, is to let the talent be themselves. A lot, like, granted, you're playing a character, but there's a reason why you hired them. There's a reason why you need to let Will Ferrell do his thing. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why you need to let all these guys do their thing.
I for me, I've experienced that firsthand. I had a couple of TV deals where they bought my story.
You had your own, basically your Tonight Show on the comedy.
Yeah. I also had my own
on country
on CMT, but I also had a bunch of.
That's where I would see you first.
CMT Tonight Show. Yeah,
I also had a bunch of TV deals about my life, about being a single dad and raising 3 kids, and it's interesting what happens is when they buy a piece of talent, then it has to go, when you go to the big studios, it goes through so many filters. And people do their job out of fear of losing their job. So much they're never going to lose their job by saying no to something, but they might lose their job by saying yes to something.
We just went through it with Firing the Kid.
Right? So
we just went through that.
That's the problem, really, is they're squashing creativity out of fear.
Yeah, everyone's got 10 people standing on their shoulders.
Yeah.
That's the
To your
thing.
point,
A coach who doesn't play the player he believes in because he's got, the head office, whatever. Everyone has a front office,
Correct.
For me, it's my wife. Thank you very much.
Hey.
So anyway.
Do your kids like your movies?
Yeah.
Are you still cool with your kids?
Yes. I mean, with the older ones, like Charlie, who's 17, will go, Dad, that's not funny.
Right.
If I post something on Instagram or Twitter, it's like, Dad, take that down. I'm like, I don't care. It's weird. Does it seem weird to you, son? Then fine. I'm fine with that.
Does it seem weird to you, son?
Yeah. I don't care. It's not that important to me. My
Yeah.
business is not on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll participate, but that's not where I'm going to make my stones.
No,
you got to keep your hand in it, but otherwise, it's like, look at my film side, and if that's not enough, then I can't help.
So for you going, because pilot season is coming up, right? So are you still? I mean, you're a well-known guy. You're a well-known actor, especially
don't
in this
audition
town.
for pilots, do you?
It's not like back in the day where you're sitting there with all these other actors. And because now, before there was this kind of weird stigma, like TV. That basically means I failed as a
Yeah, that
movie
was 10
actor.
years ago.
But
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
TV's where the hotness.
Well,
is
I'm
at.
fortunate in that I'm on a sitcom we were starting to shoot the week after Thanksgiving. We had 13 on picked up, so it's called Superior Donuts. We shot it last spring, and then we reshot it in the fall, and they got it right, and so it really works.
What network?
CBS. It's a 4-camera sitcom on CBS. It'll
Love
probably air in January or February. It's a mid-season replacement.
Why do you think, and my son, who is about your son's age, loves Fresh Prince, loves Full House,
Hell yeah.
loves the George Lopez show, won't watch any new sitcoms.
I won't either.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you?
I won't either.
Well, it's what I think is they have to digest it the way they come to it. So that's why I think a lot of these early YouTube stars that we couldn't understand, were very funny to kids' developing minds, right?
Right.
Because when we were kids, we watched cartoons. You don't watch those same cartoons anymore, but you might go through the canon and then go, okay, I like these, and they get more up to date or sophisticated. But they're going to come to something early, maybe, and then work their way up to something more sophisticated. Not that stuff today is that much more sophisticated, but the other stuff was maybe easier to digest because everything's so fast now.
Right.
And there wasn't so many options,
Choices,
like
yeah.
Simpsons, Married with Children, the Fresh Prince. I'm like same as your son, and now there's just so much out there for me to sit down at 7 p.m. Whenever those sitcoms are. Like Bryan's on the Goldbergs. I've never seen an episode of the Goldbergs. Modern Family. Those Ed O'Neill's a buddy of mine, great guy. I've never seen an episode of it. Those sitcoms I just will not watch
But
for
why?
whatever reason.
But there's a.
I don't know.
But that's what I mean.
But like he said, there's so much out there. There's so many options. I feel like it's not tailored towards a 32-year-old male.
But I think it's a
I
stigma,
could be wrong.
right?
Yours, I'll watch yours now, especially now you're sitting here, and because it has donuts in the title.
Yeah, I'm on board. But I think it's more like it's almost like people are okay with the nostalgia of it. But this new stuff is shit. Like, I think it's not that much different. If my son likes Fresh Prince and likes Full House, if he gave the new ones a chance, he would like it. What I'm saying is they're not being given a chance by the younger generation. And I think maybe it's because old is cool. New is not.
Well, plus you're not telling them, they'll decide.
Yeah.
They're making the choice, not some programmer is making the choice now. So they get to go back. They look at their options. We never had
That's what I'm
any
saying,
of these
options.
options.
And most
What
of
I
them
had
on
in the
their phone or
afternoon
iPad.
was
That's
Gilligan's Island, Petticoat Junction, and the Brady Bunch.
Three
That's
Stooges.
what was on. Three Stooges. That's what's on in the afternoon in television. And when you're a kid, you don't even realize, like, no, this show is 15 years old.
Yeah.
You're like, no, that's what's on now.
Yeah.
It's Big Valley. That's what I'm going to be watching.
Yeah.
Big Valley? Holy
I'm much older than you are.
shit. Big Valley is
I
like...
don't even know
You
what
don't
it
know what
is.
Big
I
Valley
have
is,
no
right?
idea.
I kind of know what Big Valley is. That was like an old Western... What, Lee Majors?
I've had dinner with Lee Majors. How
Wasn't
about
Lee
that?
Majors in that?
Yes.
Lee Majors is a $6 Million Man.
Oh yeah.
Or
Lee
the
Ma-
unknown stuntman.
Okay.
He's still out.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm young as
You know
shit
what?
compared to
Here's
you
the thing.
guys.
It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry.
He's
He's got his whole life in front of him.
He's a television. Doesn't matter.
I'm just kidding.
He's a television icon. Some people don't even know who Jimmy Stewart is. Jimmy Stewart was one of the biggest stars in the world. The only reason they
Amazing
know
race
him
car
now
driver,
is because of It's a Wonderful Life. Some people don't know who Bill Murray is, if that's even fathomable.
Bill Murray?
Right?
That's impossible. Is that
It's
possible?
Younger people,
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's younger people, some.
like to us, he's God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to, the next generation, like who's that?
They
That's
don't
true.
even know who Chris Farley is. Like, or, a lot of these guys. man.
When I was going to Old Cella and I told my son, I'm like, he goes, "What band do you want to see the most?" I'm like, "The Who." He goes, "What songs do they sing again?" I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here."
You're fucking fired.
Yeah,
For
you're-
what, my son?
Yeah, you're
As
not my son
you're
anymore.
fired.
Yeah,
Yes.
but because what was important to us clearly is not as important to them.
Is there a project you want to do? Because I feel like now more so than ever too is you can kind of go directly to the consumer. Like
Yeah.
you don't need a major network. You look at Louis C.K. Fighting the Kid did it with 3D. We went direct to consumer. Successful Louis K. Crazy successful. You see people going, all right, the studio's not greenlighted. It's not that expensive these days to get some stuff together. I'm just going to put it direct and sell it to Netflix or Amazon or something like that.
To answer honestly, all I care about is this sitcom I'm doing now. I want it to run for 10 years.
Yeah.
True. And then in the off season, I can just make different choices.
That's fair.
But I've been working so much. I'm just like, I want one job.
Are you still going to get on stage even though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I'm going to wait, like I've got the show tonight with you.
It'll be fun.
And I've got 3 tomorrow.
3?
We're at tomorrow?
Tomorrow, where am I going? To JK. Have you done that show out at the Glendale DreamWorks office building?
Somebody asked me about that.
It's
Have you been
actually
out?
awesome. It's in a wing of the office building. They move the cubicles out of the way. They put up a stage, open up a bar,
Wow.
and you do comedy.
That sounds
It's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, somebody,
Yes.
they got in touch with me about it. I'm like, that sounds...
Do it.
It really?
It's fun.
Okay.
It's fun, and they're an enthusiastic crowd. They're great. You got to go to Glendale. I don't know where you live.
That's fine.
Yeah. Then I'm going to do West Side Comedy Theater. Then I'm going to do the Improv. Because to me, it's hard for me to get out. I do have 5 kids. So for me to leave the house, doesn't even matter if I leave after the young kids are going to bed. They're like, where are you going?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
leaving? All they know is you're leaving.
What's the youngest?
5.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
5 kids.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So to me, I want to get some sets in, but I want to be there when I'm here. Because
Right.
I've traveled a lot for work and all that stuff. So when I'm home, I want to be home.
It's an
That's
interesting
my
balance.
biggest thing too, because with stand up, a lot of it's late at night, and with the Fire Kid, we travel, or if I'm shooting a TV show, they're long hours. When I'm home, I want to be home, especially up 8 months. Like my son, especially now, like he's like, where's dad? And my girl too. It's a lot of work dealing with a baby. Is there any way we could do comedy in the afternoon? You know what I'm saying?
Daytime comedy.
Can we do a 2 p.m. like a matinee or something?
I did a noon show in front
the
of
3 of us start a gig?
5,000 people in Canada with Larry the Cable Guy, and I will tell you, the noon show,
Not as funny.
not quite as much fun.
I know. I know.
quite
I'm just
as-
not a night owl, man.
For me, it was really hard. I didn't really start to travel until my son was probably 10. And I had spent basically every day with him up until that point. I was a single parent for a while. And so I will tell you the hardest thing, honestly, for me was being on the road and going on the road for like 2 months, coming back. But at the end of those 2 months, I would come back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but you travel a lot,
So
right?
you just did Wednesday through.
Wednesday,
Yeah. Okay.
but at the end of the 2 months and really being there for a week, 2 things. One, looking at my son and noticing that he's bigger was heartbreaking for me.
Game changer.
It was heartbreaking
Yeah.
because then you realize I'm missing everything. I'm actually literally missing him getting bigger.
And that's also all that matters, really. When you come down
was
to it, like, the
heartbreaking.
jokes are great, be on the road's great, getting laughs great, but what really counts is seeing your son, which is weird because everyone tells you that, dude, when you have a son, it's going to change your life. When he first came out, I was like, I'm a sociopath because I feel no different. Like, he needs his mom. I feel no different. And then as he's getting older, like 3-4 months, I'm like, okay, now he's kind of noticed me getting this little personality. And it's true, man. Like, it's a game. You're talking about, there's nothing more important than him.
Yo, but
Right.
0 to 4 months, kids suck.
Seriously, man.
Yeah,
He's a
man.
football with eyes.
Yeah, you're like, what?
He
You
needs his
should-
mom.
yeah,
He needs his mom.
And they don't care. They don't give a shit about you, and they don't do anything.
You're not necessary to their survival.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
100%. And now 8 months, I walk in the door and he's like, like I won the Super Bowl. Like he's grabbing me. It's great.
Do you know what I wish somebody had warned me about? The one thing I wish somebody had warned me about is that the first time, and it seemed to have happened more with my son than with my daughter, when they're sitting in the car seat and you go to take them out of the car seat and you're like, buddy, do you have shit on your neck? Like, the poop flies up the onesie, out the back of the neck, and you're like, do you have shit on your neck? How
Another
did you
level.
How did you get shit on your
They
neck?
got a good one.
That should have been like, somebody should have told you at some point in time, there's going to be shit on his neck. Don't panic.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
That's
yeah,
a milk poop, by the way, too.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, that's got to be all fluid.
Oh,
Yeah,
and,
to shoot that high.
and with power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To beat gravity?
Yeah.
When your shit beats gravity?
Well, you may
Like,
have you may have missed that first diaper. Like, do I smell shit? No.
So it just loads up.
That might just be
a
me.
bad single dad. I said this. Brian and I were talking about it on the show. I don't know if anyone told you. Having a son, how difficult it is. Granted, my woman's a beast of a mom, but still, it's really challenging, man. I said, I looked at Brian. I think we're in Florida. I went, Josh raised 3 kids as a single parent. I said, your kids would be dead by now if you left them alone. And he goes, probably, man. I went, Josh deserves a fucking statue in Hollywood. It should be you holding the 3 kids just Rocky statue.
Yeah, but
Like,
listen.
because I never realized when people like when you see a single mom who's raised 4 kids and she's not doesn't have make a ton of money and she's working a job, the fucking mental power and strength that it takes, man. Like I wish people could understand that because I was the guy like that's not that big of a deal. What?
Yeah.
That's more important than any. It's the most important job in the world.
I tell people all the time too, like when people are like, well, why are you so tired? You're more mentally exhausted because what you don't understand, like when you walk around without kids, you're not thinking in the back of your head about other people all of the time. You're not preoccupied with that. Drains your mental.
You also can't
energy.
get anything else done.
No,
like, there's no writing
no.
going on.
And you're always trying.
Yes.
And all the back of your mind is like, I got to get something done. I got to get something done. I got to get something done. I got to
can't.
get something done.
No.
I can't get anything done.
No, then it's 8 p.m. You're like, what the fuck happened today?
And there's I think for men
then you have no
especially, if
energy.
you don't get something done during the day, by 3:30, if I haven't gotten something done, I feel really anxious.
I feel
Yes.
like a loser.
Like I gotta
too.
go.
Yes.
I didn't.
Yes.
Even if I moved, even if I cleaned out that shelf by the bookcase by my nightstand, I'm like, did something.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't write 750 words that morning, all right, did something. But if you get one thing accomplished, I think it's a male thing. You get one
I
thing
agree.
accomplished, you're like, okay, then I'm ready to accomplish another thing.
That's fair.
But you do have that mental load starting at 6:30, like we got to get him up. Let's get him
Yeah.
going. Let's get him moving. And then what's the rest of the day? And then like tomorrow, I'm going to do 3 shows. Then I realize Sergeant's got a football game at 4:30. I'm like, oh shit, do I have to cancel that first show?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
you
like,
gotta
well,
be at
no,
his
I've just
football
pushed
game.
the whole night. But
Or
whatever.
you just asked the coach to move the game earlier.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, this doesn't work for me. Is there any way we can do like a 3:30 game and maybe in
All
my
right,
backyard?
We got to get into current events before we got to
Okay.
get you out of here.
Right.
So let's do some current events, Ev, and then we'll let this guy go.
Do you guys
You've
have
been great,
questions?
man.
This is good. All right.
Yeah.
You doing
Too
Pittsburgh
bad
or
we had
not?
nothing to talk about, fellas.
Yeah, we had nothing to talk. We didn't ramble on for basically 2 hours about just
Holy
life.
A lot of
Crazy,
dead
right?
space. A
You
lot
guys
of
are
dead
great,
space.
man.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I talk so much when I'm on your show, dude.
Dude, I'm a talker, and he has great stories.
We all interrupted equally.
Okay, I really apologize.
I'll get the heat for it online. Like, let your guest talk, Shop. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm just trying to get a word in. What do you got, Ev?
All right, first current event that we got today. B, we're going to start off with this one that I know you've already been looking into. LeBron James going after Phil Jackson for referring to his business partners as his posse.
I mean,
Do you want me to, I should read
you
the
also got to
specific
tread.
quote, too.
You kind of got to tread lightly on it. Go ahead.
Read the sentence.
Okay. So the quote is about LeBron wanting the entire team to stay overnight in Cleveland when they had like a game there. This is when he's playing for the Heat. He wanted the entire Heat team to stay overnight in Cleveland, basically so he could like go hang out with his fucking friends and stuff. So he said there were a lot of little things that came out of it. When LeBron was playing with the Heat, they went to Cleveland and he wanted to spend the night. They don't do overnights. Teams just don't. So now Spoelstra has to text Riley and say, what do I do in this situation? And Pat, who has iron fist rules, answers, you are on the plane. You are with this team. You can't hold up the whole team because you and your mom and your posse want to spend an extra night in Cleveland. And now basically LeBron is going, it's a race thing to
racial
him.
thing.
Like,
That
guys-
was
I thought it was
Riley.
Phil Jackson.
I thought it was
thing,
Phil
Riley?
Jackson.
Yes, it's Phil Jackson was the one saying that, but he's talking about this conversation that
Right.
Spoelstra had to have with Riley and all that.
So there's several layers of this conversation.
Do you have
that
a problem with it though? I feel like this day and age, like people are so sensitive. Like I grant kid like because LeBron's argument goes, if it was a white guy who would say you and your posse want to stay,
Let's
I
start-
feel like he would. Like
Let-
I've referred to white guy a group as a posse. I don't think it's a
Well,
a
let's
racist-
separate though. Do you think he meant posse in a positive tone?
What else would
When
you
you're
say?
reading that-
What if he said you and your crew? Is there a problem with crew now? Like
Okay.
where do we draw the line?
Here's
I
the
think
thing.
there's
It's-
a white
it's-
show called Entourage. That's called an Entourage, and
There
he
you go.
called this group a posse.
Well, here's the thing. It's not if that person wants to be offended, that's his business, none of mine.
I agree with that. That's what I mean. Like,
He's also. I've never walked a day in the shoes of an African American, so
Right.
I get it if he's sensitive to it. I'm just saying, it's okay to have a little thicker skin. Like it could have went way. I've seen way worse stuff than that.
Agreed.
For him saying posse.
Plus, I think Phil Jackson, when he was coaching early on, I think there may have been other players that may have referred to their group of friends as their posse.
Yeah, to
he
him,
may be
he might have
thinking
grew up with posse,
it's vernacular that his players used. Maybe.
Or he grew up saying his group of friends was a posse. We don't know his upbringing.
I also think to in any way, shape, or form refer to Phil Jackson as racist is not okay.
And people who know him actually went on record.
Is
Phil
not
Jackson
okay.
is the furthest thing from a racist.
Not okay.
Was
But
he-
I will say, and I'll say this as a Jew, right? You shouldn't tell me what I should find offensive.
Yeah,
that's the
fair.
thing. Like, it's hard. That's the thing. Like, do I think posse is offensive? No,
But you're not black.
I can't speak to that.
How about tribe?
Tribe? I like. As long as you put original tribe
then
for me,
Indians
right?
are
OT?
gonna get pissed.
Yeah.
OT?
But if you're a Native
MOT,
American,
yeah.
you're probably going to get pissed.
But that's the thing. It's,
Well, no, the
we're called the original tribe.
I get that, but Native Americans might find offense to
I think
that.
they were called tribes, but if you
I don't
referred
think
to
there's-
like,
plus,
yeah,
I
you
think-
and your tribe, yes, yeah.
Plus, I think they're too drunk to know what's going on.
I think there's, I think, but
Well,
yeah,
just
I
Kidding,
think
everybody. Relax,
it
everybody.
seems like
relax,
a
relax.
slow sports day if
Yeah.
this was the headline.
Agreed.
That's what I'm just saying.
Agreed.
There's a lot more things the
Totally
world
agree.
should be worrying about than Phil Jackson saying posse to a multi-jagillionaire.
But by the
who
way-
wanted to stay the night in Cleveland when his team wanted to go back home.
On a bigger issue, this is one of the problems I have with the media now. This is a stir-up story. This is a story that they put out because they know it'll draw
Clicks.
lines.
Yeah, well, made
But
it
when
on the
you're-
show.
When you're drawing lines, you're also pushing people further apart. I think this is. I think it's just irresponsible to make such a big deal out of this.
But
story.
also, people are going to attack Phil Jackson now. Racist, bigot.
Get it, and maybe something. Honestly, like I think Phil should come out and say, hey, obviously I'm not racist. Was not meant to
See,
offend.
I don't think he needs to do anything.
Phil Jackson's shoulders. How big are those shoulders?
Right. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I
yeah,
had
You're getting
to-
a
he,
knock on
has,
the
he has
door.
big shoulders to carry all that pressure. In the words of
Yeah.
Reggie White, there you go.
Oh, look at.
Oh,
shit!
It's the kid.
I walked out 5 times.
What's up, buddy? You didn't say
Am
you
I
were.
in this chair
You didn't
now?
say you were such a fan when
I'm a huge fan.
Okay,
of
good.
both
Do you want to
of
sit in your seat?
Guys, I've been in a strip club, Spearman Rhino,
you leave
in the
him
Valley.
there.
You got my video. I've been in strip club.
I didn't see it, Bubba. I've been
Spearman
in
Rhino.
there.
I've been in Spearman Rhino.
Which one? The one downtown or one in the valley?
Oh no, the one in the Valley.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
deep in
Is
the
that
heart.
the good one or?
That's
Oh,
the one
well,
out by
Depends
Sepulveda.
on what you mean by good.
Yeah.
I don't
Were
know.
you
If
shooting?
you mean everything has a price, then
Ow.
Yeah.
if you mean everything's on the menu, yeah.
Wait, were you shooting?
I was shooting
For which show?
a show called Kingdom.
Kingdom. Is that wait?
Was
It's on-
Michael
it's
Morris
on
there?
It's on DirecTV, starring Frank Grillo. A very dramatic MMA show.
Oh, okay.
And I play
okay.
a very nefarious Armenian
Promoter,
fight
right?
promoter.
I
Yeah.
can
Was
see
Michael
that.
Morris directing or EPing that?
No,
British dude.
No,
with
no,
Salt and pepper hair.
No, in fact, I think it was Michael used to direct that.
Yes.
And now it's we have floating directors.
What's your Armenian accent like?
It's not good because I try not to do one. I'm trying to sound like I'm from. I'm trying to be
The northern part of Armenia?
But I've been living in LA for a long time, so I try to be American. But you can tell that
There's
I
a
have
little-
an accent there.
I like it,
It's
though.
subtle, man. It's difficult,
Mask the accent rather than lean into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the problem is, man, I'm thinking about the accent, and then it's not that good. My acting isn't good, so I'm doing just okay.
Gee, you've missed it. We've been going hard for about 2.5 hours.
Is that right?
These couple chatty Cathys here.
Well, thanks.
Real chatty Cathys.
These girls can
When these girls get together, they shut
now,
their
and now I've
yappers.
offended women.
Maybe the guy who's done more movies and more everything than Dave Koechner.
Never talked about one of them. Wow.
got the
Okay.
trophy.
Anyway,
Yeah.
How many movies have you done?
I don't know movies, but I know I have over 150 IMDb credits.
The kid is
So
talented.
150?
Did I interrupt? What were you guys
We've
talking
gone
about?
over all this piece, so
Good,
for
good,
the
good.
listeners, we don't want to go over this again.
I
But
hear you.
people don't. They do know. Are you on tonight's Gold? You guys don't. I think
We're
you
on the
know-
Goldbergs together.
Finally, and we've never done a scene together.
You're damn right.
We've
You're
I
about
didn't know
to
you were on
right
the
now.
Goldbergs?
We're both on the Goldbergs
We
and
both
have been
recur.
for 3 years.
2. You're 3. Yeah.
Yeah. How about
I
that?
didn't know that. And
Oh,
tonight
okay.
is the first episode with you guys together.
No. Actually, you were so awesome as the coach who was taking Barry under his wing, and I was in that episode too. It was a nice heavy one for you, which was awesome.
It was, and I just shot another one that was heavy, but I haven't had any time with you.
I know.
But we
What's
did
your,
do the
what's
goods
your
together.
character, David?
I'm Jeff Garland's best friend, Bill Lewis,
Oh, nice.
and his Barry's dating my daughter. But I
He's
got the
also
new show. I
starting
can't do
a
anything.
new
Superior
sitcom on
Donuts.
CBS, Superior Donuts.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I
of
think
course
I can
he is.
only do 2 more Goldbergs this year, maybe.
And then your contract, then you got to go.
They won't let you cross over.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You're wanted, Koechner.
Didn't I read that you just got a spinoff?
I did.
What'd you get?
Coach Miller has his own
Seriously?
show. Yes. In the
amazing.
90s.
Cool,
Awesome.
right?
It's good stuff.
Oh,
That is
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah.
In the
I'm
90s.
so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
It's
me
all
very
good,
happy.
You know.
So that's like 10 years later, so they're not going to have to age you up at all.
You son of a bitch.
Just no makeup.
Just no makeup
no
this time.
makeup.
I'll tell you what, on
shorts.
Kingdom, they literally put no makeup on me. It's the first show I've ever done where they literally look at you and go, "You're good."
And you're like, no.
I could use some makeup. Brennan, we were shooting something and said, "Do you want makeup?" I said, And Brennan said, "Yes, he does."
I was like, no, you
dead
sit
serious.
down. 'Cause we market to a younger. Oh yeah, I was like, no, you're getting makeup.
Dude, he'll dress me. He's like, "You can't wear that. You're a grown man."
For sure. When we first started the show, he'd show up in sandals like he was taking the SATs. I was like, what are you doing? We can't have this.
Taking
man.
the SATs, but not seriously.
No, just like kind of he had to take it. Yeah. Now look at him.
Look at it. Those
Got his
shoes,
own
by
show.
the way,
I know you guys have covered the ostrich skin boots.
those shoes are
Oh,
amazing.
I can't see them.
Oh, those are
we haven't
ostrich
seen
skin.
them. Those are ostrich.
Luke Casey's.
Hashtag rich shit.
Yeah.
Wait,
no,
what
no.
type of
Every once
sneakers
in a while,
are
I'll
those?
treat myself.
I hear you. Me too.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Like once a year.
I get greats on.
Well, he'll wear. He's got 200 pairs of shoes. More.
Probably
Wow.
more now, yeah.
Me, I got my ninja slippers for street fighting, and I got these.
It's true.
I'm
for
straight-
tennis and spinning kicks.
I'm
That's
straight
true.
Puma the whole
Tennis.
time.
Yeah,
I know
Puma
you are a
guy.
Puma guy.
I
You
love
hooked
Puma.
me up with
Yeah,
Pumas
yeah,
as well.
straight
I also
Puma the whole
love
time.
Pumas.
Those
Should
are
we finish current events
Yeah.
and then get to it? So, because he's been here a while, we've kept him way longer than he should be.
I love it. Thank you.
I don't know if we've ever had this is a fun dynamic.
We got ourselves.
I was very confused when I answered the door and Brian was staring at me.
There's fight companion, then there's life companion.
Yeah,
this is a life companion.
This is a live companion. I'm
This is a
into
live
it.
This is a
I'm
life
into it.
companion.
New concept, life companion.
Wow.
All right, next one we got. We'll stick with sports. Tony Romo had a press conference and came out and just gave Dak Prescott the Cowboys throne. So Romo's pretty much good to go now. He could pretty much just come back in and start playing, and he's completely relinquished the throne to Dak Prescott, which is a crazy move.
It's not a crazy move. He had to do it. You follow? Are you a football fan? Being
Yeah.
from Missouri for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're into
Yeah.
sports. You and I know sports. But for Tony Romo, I thought this was gonna be a little. It could have went really south. He was like, "This is ridiculous. What I've done for this organization. I should be the starter." They've never been better. They're the hottest team in the league. Dak and Ezekiel Elliott, or Ezekiel might win MVP.
Yeah.
They're probably besides the Patriots, are probably the Super Bowl favorites, especially coming out of the NFC.
Yeah.
So if he went and caused these waves, people, especially Dallas, would hate him forever. People already, and it's ridiculous, don't respect Tony Romo for whatever reason.
It's crazy.
He hasn't won a Super Bowl. Granted, he's a great quarterback. But by saying, yes, this is Dak's team, if he gets hurt, I'll come in and do my job. But I heard the Broncos are making a huge push for him and some other stuff for him in the
I
works.
talked to you about
But his
Romo.
time in Dallas is over.
I talked to you about,
100%
I talked to you about Romo, and I remember I said, I always feel like Romo is almost like, and it's not his fault. It's almost like bad luck. Like and playoffs and 1 inch.
Collarbone.
It's always
Yep.
something.
It's
I
it's
will tell
tough.
you, if you can't convince me with that offensive line and that running back that Romo wouldn't have the same season right now as Dak Prescott.
I don't know. He never has. He
had that offensive line with a good running back 1 year, and he was 12-4. It was the best year of his career.
Look at him right now, though.
I'm just saying that offensive
But why
line.
mess with it?
No. I wouldn't put him back in. And I think the term, relinquishing the crown when he doesn't have it anyways.
He's always hurt.
Yeah, it's gracious, I guess, but he's not the number. He's giving the guy the number one nod when he was already
plus
the number
the
one.
way Dax plays football, there's a good chance Romo comes
Yes.
in. And this could be his great role.
Yeah.
He comes in, finally wins him a title coming off the bench. Be a
I
great story.
I think he doesn't get enough respect for
I
how
agree.
good a quarterback he is, but his time 3 weeks ago,
Dude,
it was the writing was on
If
the
he
wall.
would just go to the Broncos, we'd be such a
No, I don't want him
powerhouse.
at the Broncos. I'm
No,
not-
me
How
neither.
dare you, sir? No Chiefs fan?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are good too.
Yeah, we are.
How's your Mizzou
Goddamn
Tigers
right,
doing though?
But we're not talking about college football. We're talking football.
Dave, would you? I feel like you were a hockey player. Am I
No.
wrong?
No, I grew up in a small town in Missouri. I didn't even see a hockey game until I was 20.
Not a lot of hockey in
So
Missouri.
you were a dancer.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Next
mostly
But
event.
we're talking about
Next
how
event,
hard it
Ev.
is to make as an actor, tougher even to make it as a dancer. So
You're darn right
I
it is.
transitioned.
Yeah, making money as a dancer is
Unless
very
you're willing to
challenging.
let the older men touch it.
Yeah.
Then,
That's a
Different-
lesson I
different
learned
type of
early.
dancing.
Yeah.
well,
We're
to
talking
you.
trained ballroom.
Well, it takes a lot of training to get up on that pole as a man.
What else you got, Ev?
All right, B, had to include this little one since you're so close to him. Lyoto caught an 18-month suspension today.
Oh,
His
boy.
punishment from USADA came down today. 18 months for the anti-doping violation. Failed the test for what? DEA? DHEA?
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Steroid.
It's not a steroid. I
That's human
take
growth, isn't
DHEA.
it?
No.
You can get it over the counter. DHEA.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But
Brennan,
it's a
Brennan,
legal
18
supplement.
months.
It is?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, especially in competition. It's also a precursor to other stuff. I just think, man, for Lyoto, it sucks, right? I don't know how much fight is left in him. Granted, he sells all the skill stuff like that. I wouldn't
18
be. I wouldn't
months
be.
a long
I wouldn't.
suspension?
Yeah, it's a long. It's a long time, especially for a guy of his age, and he just opened up an academy, and it's a bit of a hit. 18 months. Wow. Listen,
It's retroactive to April.
Brennan
so
used to say that why
not
would
that
he do
much.
steroids if the suspension used to be 9 months, sometimes 6 months, and he was
Sometimes
like,
6 months, yeah.
he was like, I don't fight more than once every 9 months
Right.
anyway. Why wouldn't I get that advantage? Take the penalty.
Right.
and
I was
fight?
too worried
'Cause,
about-
he won anyway.
Yeah, but also I was too worried about my public image, and like, you know, if you're a steroid user, you're sure as hell no one in the future is gonna listen to me speak on this truthfully, you know,
Right.
Like they're just like, what, you're a cheater, man. So I was more worried about that and the effects, and I couldn't afford it. I assume it's really expensive. I didn't know doctors, so
So 18 months, is that?
it's retroactive. So and it was. It's
But is
been a
that
while.
considered
April.
is that considered a long, like other guys who have been busted
3
for
years? If you took some real shit, like some real hardcore stuff, you're 3 year suspension.
3 years?
Now, do they
One guy
think
got
they're going
banned
to get
for
away
life.
with it?
They do. But they do because they think you get away with it. They have a doctor. Usually they're working with a doctor who goes, I'm telling you, man, don't worry. This is going to get it out of your system in 2 weeks. But now it's USADA testing, so they come randomly. So they'll come at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. When you're like, what the 6 a.m? Shit. And, you know, so now they can test you 365 days a year as much as they want. They can test you 7 days in a row. So it's a different game
And
now.
does it show up in your hair follicles?
Some does.
Some do.
Marijuana does for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they can mask a lot of that too. That's what the doctors are
But
probably doing.
USADA takes blood and urine.
Okay. Oh, blood. Yeah,
Blood
yeah.
and urine. So
They've
it's
got some
very,
serious
it's very
testing, right?
challenging. It's
Yeah.
very, very challenging. But guys do think they're going to go away. They think they're the exception.
Future of sport, will all performance enhancers be easily spotted and taken out of sport?
Nope.
It'll always be more and more advanced, staying ahead of the game, just like it is now.
Yep.
Okay.
I had a famous fighter. Obviously, I'd never mention his name. Goes, it's not even really about who's the best fighter. It's who has the best doctor. Who's ahead of the curve.
But see, there are some sports where
That's
I
sports.
I clearly don't.
It's not a
think
UFC
PEDs
problem. It's a professional
Yes,
sports problem.
but
like your favorite athlete in the NFL, NBA, NHL. I mean, people think it's just a UFC problem. It's
Everywhere.
It's professional sports.
I think it's
Part of the game.
naive. It's naive to think that football players with that size and speed, one could recover that quickly to go out and play again without some help, but also to get to that size and speed naturally seems crazy.
Well, I would say most of them are naturally that big, but a lot of them do take it and they're gifted. I think if people actually saw like a guy like take anyone, like a guy like a Vernon Davis or a guy like a Dak Prescott, and you put them next to you, like, oh, damn, we're both human. It's like, yeah.
No, I
we
get
don't
the
start on the
difference.
same gene
I
pool at
definitely
all.
get that.
But the NFL, I almost think they entice guys to take them by doing Monday Night Football, Thursday Night
Yeah.
Football, Sunday. Because if you play on Sunday and then your team's up on Thursday, it's physically impossible to recover in time. So what do you think the guys are going to do?
what
Like,
percentage
dude,
of people? What percentage? If you were going to give a percentage,
in the NFL?
yeah,
High percentage. That takes some form of illegal supplement.
80?
Probably 80 plus.
Whew.
In the UFC before USADA, you're looking at 90 plus.
Is UFC with the blood?
Baseball, I mean,
Yeah, but is fighting the only one that
track
takes the blood?
and field. What?
Fighting and track and field the only sports that take blood? Because
Boxing
football doesn't
does.
take blood, do they?
No.
They just
And
piss.
if you fail a test in football, you're just a dumb human being.
Why?
They test you once a year and they tell you when they're going to test you.
Once a year.
Wow.
But if you test positive, then you're in the program where they're going to test you throughout the year, and you're kind of screwed.
Wait, they only
but
test you
tell
once?
They test you once. at the
Preseason or when?
beginning of the season, and you know when you're getting tested. Now, if you have a history of performance-enhancing drugs or marijuana or alcohol, then you're in this program where they're going to test you a ton. But if you test positive in college or the NFL, you should take your hand and ram your face into it.
Because so for weed, guys like Gordon. So if he could have just waited till he got tested,
Yes,
he would have never
he'd
been
be
tested.
fine. But he just cannot stop smoking for that duration. of
That
time.
is insane.
They're idiots.
Well, it's interesting because so many more states are legalizing marijuana, so that I guess the league has to have their separate rules.
League has it because they're their own commission, right?
Right.
Like they're not a.
Dave,
They're
you
not
do
state run.
your acting is very aggressive and strong, and I'd imagine you've been on.
He's on performance.
something.
Yeah. When he walked in,
He's
I'm
on
like,
performance enhancing.
dude. When he walked in, I'm like, he's on some shit.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
his performances are so.
That's what I
fucking
thought.
Strong.
And that was my first question. I was like, on Anchorman 2, were you using Deca or Winstrol? What are we talking
Well,
about?
we never get tested in the entertainment industry, so we're fine.
Nor should
fine.
you.
Nor should
Like,
you.
I assume Ben Affleck was on some shit as Batman.
How
So is
dare
Reynolds,
you?
Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. Promise you, he's doing something.
And
Maybe.
Jake Gyllenhaal in that fighting movie.
100%.
The dude was jacked.
Jacked.
100%.
Yeah.
Jacked.
Yeah, I think they kind of talk about it.
Yeah?
They definitely don't
You think it's
talk
like a
about it.
dirty
in
secret?
public?
Not in public.
No.
Not on a podcast.
No, definitely not in the media.
No.
Hey, so what was your steroid cycle like to become Batman? Oh, I'm glad you asked.
But
Every
I mean-
morning.
But I mean, those guys in 300, Gerard Butler, and all those
Yeah.
guys were doing something.
Well, dude, when I was eating those beans, greens, nuts, and seeds.
Send me a picture, and he's
And I
like, hey,
sent-
should I do keto? I'm like, God damn it.
I sent him that picture too. And the first question you asked me was, what are you taking?
Yeah.
Yeah, who's your doctor?
But you know what? And I had a friend of mine who coached too, because I'm leaner than I've ever been. He goes, what are you taking? I went, God damn it, I don't expect that from you. He goes, what do you mean? I went, it's such a cop-out because you don't work out anymore. You eat like shit, and you're not very disciplined. So when you see someone who is, it's automatically, what are you taking?
Right.
I'm like, dude, I expect that of just average Joes or fans who are like, oh, come on, Shab. But from a guy who knows me and a guy who doesn't work out and is not disciplined, it really disappointed me. Like, God damn it, man, you're better than that. And
I will say
he
I've done-
apologized.
Yeah, I've done movies where I have noticed while doing the movie, I've noticed people getting bigger, but we're shooting long days.
Yeah.
And I went, you guys are, what's going on here? Everybody's fucking lifting. Where are you guys lifting? And somebody said, are you serious? I said, what? He said, we're all taking, it was kind of an action movie. And they were like, we're all taking steroids. I mean,
But you would never take
I would. I mean, I've never done a part where it
If
would
they
be
called Bryan up
necessary.
right now, like, hey, Brendan's gonna be Batman, you're gonna be Robin.
I
We
would
need,
take
we need you to
steroids.
put some meat on.
Yeah.
There's a needle in Bryan's ass before
Oh.
he gets off the phone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a needle.
He's a jack
I've never
Robin.
done it though. I don't want to be. I'll be 50 in 2 months, and I just
Yeah.
don't. I don't want to get. I don't want to go down that road.
Plus, we're not. That's not our job.
It's not our job.
Our job is not to do the heavy
It
lifting.
would make you less funny.
Unless they're big
It'd
jokes.
make you less.
I'm a silly
If
goose.
you look
If you
like
were
The
jacked.
Rock and got on stage, people are like, God damn it.
Yeah, like,
that's
what's
not
going
funny
on?
at all. Like
Where's
Carrot
the
Top
fat?
remember Carrot Top got jacked?
Jacked.
And his act went,
Yeah, I just think it's also the mindset that goes into that. Once you start doing
vain.
that at my age, now you're going to start dressing for it. You're going to. There's just
the
something-
affliction
it's a
shirt comes out, the
slippery
Yeah.
chains around the neck,
Yeah.
the self-tanning.
Yeah,
these sleeves cut
I'm
off.
Banging strippers.
Then you got
there's
selfies in the
I lose my
mirror.
house.
You got
I lose my
selfies
house.
in
My
the
wife gets
mirror
mad. Yeah.
at
I've never-
50.
Have
You're
you ever
Snapchatting
taken-
when
have
you
you-
juice every morning.
Yeah, Nobu Malibu every
I'm
night.
shaving my body down. The
Yeah.
whole thing's a problem.
Buy
Have you ever
fucking
taken a selfie in the
Maserati.
mirror?
Dave and I are in a convertible. What?
Have you ever taken a selfie in the mirror?
Many times. Not
Have you
just,
really?
Yeah, I mean, but
It's
send
all-
it
I
to-
never have. I
to
just
send
that's
it to my
something I've
friends,
never.
to send to my friends, my wife, people like that, just to,
I mean, honestly though, I've never taken a selfie in the mirror. I hate taking them anyway, but I'm older than all you guys, so I don't even give a shit.
Yeah.
But the idea of snapping a picture in a mirror so I can see all of me, I'm like,
embarrassing.
are you?
It is
kidding me?
very awkward.
No, I've never
is
done
very
it on
awkward.
a serious. I've never gone.
No, I've never been like,
I've never done.
I'm gonna
like,
post.
boom.
I'm gonna post one today.
yeah, do it. Please do it, and let me retweet it.
after-
What are you on Instagram?
Yeah.
Just David Koechner.
David Koechner, all right.
yeah, yeah.
Please do it so I can retweet it.
mean,
Can I leave my clothes on?
I prefer you shirtless, but
Yeah.
whatever you pick.
You got it.
I
You got
did
it.
this. I took a picture. I was working out for like 3 weeks in a row, and I was lifting weights. And I looked at my body one time. The lighting was just perfect, and I think it was in a hotel room. And I took a picture of my torso at the perfect angle, and it didn't look like me, but it was a great angle. And I sent it out to about 10 friends with the caption, "I never do any working out." I had something like that. And this is 100% natural. I've been sitting on a couch for 3 weeks, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, as far as like taking it seriously, like check out my gains.
Hey, bro. Hey, we have friends who do that though.
We do have friends that do it.
Bryan and Chris Deal and I, we have a group text message, and we have certain friends that won't come out. And on Instagram, they're so serious and like models. And we're like, God damn it, that's our friend. And we'll Snapchat it and then just blast it to the.
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome.
No, we roast them for about.
It's always funny when you see
solid hours.
comics
Brendan
do
usually
it.
starts it. He'll be like, "God damn it."
I just put God damn it in the picture of our friend.
I love it when I see comics do it, especially because then you're like, that's not your job, dude. Your job is not to
I don't
look
like
sultry.
comics when they do inspirational messages either. Like,
Oh, the
hey,
inspirational
dude.
quotes?
Like somebody asked me what my goals are. I'm almost 50. I was like, listen, I'm living my goals.
I'm
not
50.
reading Joseph
I'm
Campbell
also
anymore. I'm
50.
not talking about meditation. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. My kids. I got
Yeah.
my
Kids,
kids.
I want to live to see my grandkids.
Literally.
That's my goal.
My goal is
goal's
breathing.
not to die.
Yeah, breathing.
Yeah,
keep
not to
waiting.
die.
That's
Yep.
exactly
I don't
right.
want to die early. How
Yeah.
about that?
I
I'd
think
be
about-
relevant.
I think about
I'd like to be
cancer.
relevant.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
completely like who cares?
Right.
Okay.
So true.
That's my
Yeah.
goal. Just
So
to
true.
stay
Just-
relevant.
I just want to be relevant.
My honest thing is, I
so
wake up
funny.
every day trying to avoid injury. I'm like, I think I could tweak a knee on that one. Like that's one of my things. Is
That's funny.
one of my goals every week is just to avoid any kind of muscle injury or anything.
Well, today I was out on set, and there was a guy who's a stuntman, an older guy, a fantastic guy, but he's also a trainer of big cats and bears.
Was
and
there something
chimps.
like that online? Or on
No,
set?
there wasn't. But he was the guy who trained Siegfried and Roy's
Wow.
big cats.
The one that attacked them?
Yes. And what happened there was,
fired.
and he said, I said, what happened? He said, well, the
What
cat,
happened?
The cat stopped short, and Siegfried lost his footing. Now, when you fall in front of a tiger, they're going to eat you.
what?
And I went, what? And he said, the mistake he made was the tiger grabbed him by the arm, and you always let the tiger grab your arm because he's going to drag you somewhere.
Everyone
he's going
knows
to take
that.
you somewhere.
Yeah, everyone knows
yeah.
That's step
Sig-
one. For sure go with the tiger.
Yeah.
But then he got his neck.
Well,
yeah?
Siegfried said, don't do that, big kitty, and hit him on the nose with his microphone. Gang,
nose.
gang, gang. And Mr. Tigre went, excuse me, sir, got to bite your neck now. Because that's what I'm genetically programmed to do. Got a hold of that neck.
Hey, you know what I would have said if I was that trainer and you asked, hey, why did they attack? I went, oh, he's a tiger, sir. He's a
tiger.
He's doing tiger
He's
shit.
a tiger. Now
he's
he
a
said,
tiger
and how
doing
about this?
tiger shit.
How about this? He said, I said, what are more dangerous? He said, well, lions, you have to understand. Tigers tend to be more solitary. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, so tigers tend to be more genetically kind of programmed. Tigers have a social structure. They've got to be aware of body language. What's the alpha doing over there? What's his noise? Is he growling loudly, deeply? And they have a very big brain. They're 10 times smarter than a tiger when it comes to training them.
Lions
He said
are?
he said the problem is lions can also read you and your behavior, and they want to come over and greet you, and if you don't want to greet them, it can be a problem. They also have personality.
So they're going, "What's up, bro?"
But wait,
What's
right.
up, bro?
What's up,
That's
bro?
right.
Oh,
Now,
you gonna high five me?
now, how about this? So I
There's
say
no
to
high
him,
fives?
so I say to him, there's no high five. They'll jump up on you and rub up on you. They want to rub up. They greet you.
So
They
you
wanna
let 'em greet you.
You better let them greet you, because apparently, if you don't let them greet you,
Bite your face
it'd be a
off.
problem.
Is that what the guy said?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
He
do
said-
they
he
feel
said it
about
could be
some
a
sort of
problem.
whimpering or urine?
Well,
Just curious.
What if I just curl up in a ball?
Asking for a
I'm
friend.
asking for a friend.
Like when they
What if I
smell
curl up in
urine
a
right
ball and
away,
shit
is
my
that-
pants?
Number one rule with the big cats: please don't fall around, don't fall in front of them, and don't run away from them. Don't go ahead and don't run away from them because it taps in. Now,
Stand your ground.
So he's telling me about how tigers are, tigers tend to be
shit,
tigers
from
are fine.
George Zimmerman would not.
He says to me, tigers are fine as long as you
We'll
don't
tag
fall.
team on that one.
Yeah, there you go.
But then he says, then I just drop it in because I had heard something, and I say, what about a jaguar?
I like where your head's at.
Yeah,
I would have went down the whole animal
Plus,
kingdom.
Damn
I
right.
noticed the change of your inflection, which kind of threatened me.
Yeah.
I should have said, what about the jaguar?
Jaguar.
Jaguar. And he went, quote, ooh, nasty son of a bitch. And I said, "What is
Really?"
it?" He said, no, those are, ooh, dangerous. And I said, what do you mean? He said, you can take a Jaguar, and you walk him every day, and you walk him every day, and you walk him around. We go to the right. Every day we go to the right. One day he'll stop, and he doesn't want to go to the right. If you decide you're going to pull him to the right, he'll kill you. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, my first bite I ever got from the Jaguar, right on the arm, was when I tried to pull the Jaguar one way and he went the other. Now, I got lucky because he jumped up and bit me, and I went into shock. I didn't feel the pain at first, and he let go of me because the guy behind me was causing a ruckus, and he let go, and I got out, but I was about to die.
Damn.
Wow. And he
Because
said,
their bite's so strong. The hardest, best in the animal kingdom, right?
Well,
The Jaguar?
I don't know, but I do know they
you look it
kill.
up, Ev?
I do know they kill caimans. I
That
know they'll
and
jump on a
alligator.
giant caiman, a crocodile, alligator, and bite through its skull. So
But Brian, can I ask? When the guy was talking about let him drag you away, what's
Where's he
step
gonna-
two
where-
after
well, where's
that?
he going to carry you?
well, you hope that he's got the arm, and now you hope that a bunch of people jump over and put a fire hydrant
got
on
it.
or whatever.
Jaguar's number 4. Number
keep
4.
Going. Keep going.
2,000 psi.
You're dying.
Keep going.
You're
3
dying.
American
It's
alligator,
250
2
pounds.
saltwater croc,
All the same.
1 Nile crocodile.
What if one was the Rock?
and
So-
you're
and
like,
Nile
what?
crocodiles?
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
And sexy.
By the way, take a look at that. Take a look at that.
But
Nile
so the
crocodile.
top 3
Oh,
are
dude.
basically alligator, crocodile, and then the only mammal on there's the jaguar.
I'm having a hard
They're
time.
good call.
Put
Gorilla,
into perspective what that
grizzly.
means. 200 psi.
Gorilla, pound square inch.
Tigers 9, lions 10.
Well, it doesn't matter at
2,000
that point.
psi. Put in perspective. Like what is?
Well, let me put it in this perspective. So it would, technically, I believe it's, let's say 600 psi would be, or 3,700 psi would be, I believe, pounds per square inch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Correct.
If that's 3,700 pounds per square inch, it's also concentrated on a tiny little point, which would be the
Your
end of their
arm.
tooth.
So that's on your femur. you know.
Yeah, that's gonna go through it.
It's going to snap it.
See, they're made to bite through bone and flesh and tear and eat.
Not
That's
act.
how they get to. No, they're not made for acting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not actors.
They're not
Terrible actors.
terrible actors.
Turns
But
out
they,
Tiger's
they
terrible.
still get
actors.
jobs.
They're very natural. They're very natural in front of the camera.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah. So I had a real school, and then he told me that he stopped working with the chimpanzee because the chimpanzee, after about 7 years old, great until 7,
6.
great 6, 7, sweethearts. Then their balls drop.
That's what they told me. I worked with one, and the guy said to me, we were holding hands with a chimp, and they go, action. The guy goes, wait, because I was holding a piece of paper in my hand. He goes, oh, just so you know, if the chimp takes the paper out of your hand, because this was what I was acting with, and I needed it. It was part of I needed it. He was like, don't take it back. And I said, why? He goes, oh, he'll rip your face off. And action. I was like, whoa, stop like this. Stop. What do you mean? He goes, oh, if you take that out of his hand, you're challenging him.
Yeah, and they settle everything with violence. The guy told me, he said,
Everything.
the problem with chimps
Yeah.
is they're so smart, and they have a complicated brain, and if they get excited, and it could just be excited,
Yep.
generally excited,
They're like, ah,
they
face
might,
off.
they might
You don't want that as your
Yep.
friend.
You got a mouthful of
You're
your balls.
crazy, man. Face
Yep.
off.
Take your face and your balls off because you don't need them right now.
Well, when we were shooting Fire Kid 3D, we had a baboon.
A baboon.
And the guy goes, before we shoot this, I know people are going to want pictures. Don't touch him or stare him in the eye. I'm
yeah,
like,
don't look him in the eye.
Stare him in the
fuck?
eye?
Yeah.
You can't look at him in the eye. So I was like, I walked up, I was like, hey, someone take the picture quick. Like he
Yeah.
was
I wouldn't want a picture. Fuck that.
No.
Now you guys just
raging
had,
boner while we took
you
the
had-
picture, by the way.
You did?
No, the baboon.
Okay.
Sharp teeth.
Raging
and a bone.
boner.
Sharp teeth and a
And
bone.
the baboon's in the picture like this.
Yeah.
Guess
check
who's
out
gonna
my
be?
baboon
Yeah,
boner.
you guys just had Dana
boner.
Gould on,
Yeah.
and he has a long bit about a chimpanzee, what they'll do to you, about literally rip your face off, and then they bite your hands off. I think.
That's right. They bite your fingers off.
After
Why
they
the
rip your
fingers?
face.
Genitals.
And
genitals
then they go for your genitals.
Genitals, hands, and face. They don't want you to breed. They like to. They're a nasty animal. Yeah, shouldn't be working with.
But everyone is like, yeah, they're so cute. We love the chimpanzee.
Oh,
Dude, our guy who we had on set, who he owns a sanctuary and all that stuff, he goes, I go, where's the chimps, man? He goes, in Hollywood, man, they used to be the big craze, and now there's maybe 3 of us left that work with chimpanzees. I go, why? He goes, well, Bryan said at 6, their balls drop. you can't really work with them. And he goes, and also people want the new blood. So you got to understand, chimps live to about 60, and they're expensive. And after 6, they look older. No one wants to work with them.
Because their face gets dark.
So if you thought females had a
show
tough time in
business.
Hollywood, try being a chimpanzee. They get 6 years.
When they're babies,
That's their
their
run.
faces are
6
white.
years.
That's why their faces are
So
white
stop
when they're
complaining.
babies. So when you see a chimp with a white face, that's
Yeah.
a baby. As they get older, the face gets dark.
When they go chocolate face, they can't work in Hollywood. That's racist.
That's
Wait,
racist.
So what do they do with older chimps then? Just
Phil
put them in
Jackson?
zoos?
Put them in sanctuaries.
in sanctuaries.
Or
That's where they all live.
like this guy was saying, like some of the sanctuaries won't take them, so they're responsible for him. They're your roommate till you're 60. That's your pet till you're 60.
Are there other animals in that family that are easier to work with, or do they all
the
just
spider
get
monkey?
the spider monkey? Is that the little one that they put the
Rhesus
diaper
monkeys. You can work with monkeys, but they always challenge you. They'll
The
bite
orangutan?
baboons.
Don't even think about it.
Orangutans.
The
Are,
orangutango?
yeah, we don't have a lot of orangutans working, but there are some.
on? Which
Besides
is the monkey
Planet of
that
the Apes.
Mountain gorillas. He told me he changed mountain gorillas, and he said that mountain gorillas are very shy. They run away. They're kind of shy. They
Until
have
one
personalities.
decides, I don't want to do this today. Hey, man, poof,
Yeah.
head off.
What's the monkey that solves everything by having sex?
That's bonobo.
Bonobo.
It's called a man.
Yeah. The bonobo though.
Bonobo are run by women to their matriarchal society.
And they
Well,
solve
so are
everything
ours.
by like when the
very true.
males
We-
get
tonight.
mad, they just have sex with them, right? Isn't that basically?
They
I
fuck,
read
yeah,
that.
they fuck a lot. They do a lot of
They
fucking.
raped other males?
No, when the men get mad, the females who it's run by the women have sex with the men to calm them down. Is that?
I don't want to chill out.
Yeah, let's fuck. That's basically
Well,
what
then,
it is.
if that was this, me and Brian would have fake arguments all the time.
All the
Just
time.
on
So you can
nonstop
fuck each
arguing.
all the time.
No, we want some girl to come be like, fellas, chill out.
We're
Get
gonna
your
fuck
dicks
now.
out.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Let's wrap this. Let's wrap
Get
this
your
up so
dicks
David
out.
can
You
get
know
out
what?
of
I
here.
just made me think that in some movie there should be a huge bar fight with a bunch of dudes, and the big woman just bursts through the front door. All right, that's it. Get your fucking dicks out. Let's go.
That's
No,
a
we'll
good
keep
call.
arguing. Oh my God.
By the way, I
No, we'll
saw
keep
you
arguing.
playing that woman with a wig on. That was good. Dave Koechner stars as Big Marge.
And get your dicks
Big
out.
Marge. But then we just don't argue, bro. Don't argue. Big Marge is gonna bust in here.
She's
and
gonna
she's gonna
fuck us.
force to suck your dick.
we call-
no argument here, man.
We call
you
it a
win.
human vacuum.
And
You
then-
win, brother.
And then your character's going to go, I would, but kind of looks like a dude.
Kind of looks like a dude from Indiana or Missouri.
Missouri.
I got dropping knowledge real quick, and then we'll go to.
Are we done with current events?
Yeah.
Boom.
We have a
What you got?
section on
This is all
this.
yes.
We have a
Get out of
section
here.
called Dropping Knowledge. Daniel Kahneman wrote a book, Nobel Prize in Economics, wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. I recommend it highly. Did a lot of experiments on self-control. Now, when people were told to watch a tearjerker of a movie that elicited a great deal of emotion, and they were told to stifle their emotion, to not cry during the movie, and then they were given a grip test to see how strong their grip was. Do you think their grip was stronger after stifling their emotions, or was it weaker?
I would say
Guess it.
stronger.
I'd say weaker.
I'm going to say weaker just because it seems like it's counterintuitive. You don't really want to stifle it.
I would say stronger just because you're holding things in, so you're pent up.
That's right. You would be weaker.
Be weaker.
What they find is that when you have to hold in your emotions, when you have to change your diet, when you have to be kind to somebody who's an asshole to you but you don't want to be, that effort, that incredible cognitive effort of controlling what they'd call your big elephant, controlling the sort of the fast thinking brain, actually causes you to be weaker when it comes to furthering that self-control. You're not able to sort of control yourself. So if you have to do a sport and you're watching a tearjerker for a movie, make sure you cry because you'll probably be stronger. Here's another sick fact. Do you know that they finally measured the fact that when you do something that takes a great deal of concentration, if you're thinking creatively, if you're trying to come up with a very hard math problem, do you know that you burn a great deal of glucose, which would probably mean you burn a lot of calories, so that you are actually able to lose weight according to the research, because you're burning all that glucose.
Which explains why scientists have great bodies.
Your central nervous system.
They are shredded.
So when you're thinking heavy, make sure you eat a meal while you're doing it. Maybe a little glucose. Get some glucose back in your body. You're welcome. Good douche.
Straight off set, dropping knowledge, Bryan the Kid Callen.
That's how I roll.
Good douche. David, we can't thank you enough.
Hey,
man.
thank you
I know
so
you're
much.
a busy guy.
A
You don't
pleasure.
do a lot of these interviews, so we appreciate it, man.
I did some this week. I had time. It took us forever to schedule this because I was busy, but we finally got here, and I'm glad you weren't here for most of it. It is your show.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, it is your show, but maybe next time I'll be so lucky.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us about your show one more time.
Superior Donuts is going to be on CBS this spring, possibly as early as January. It stars Judd Hirsch, Jermaine Fowler, Katie Seagal, myself, among others.
Wow.
It's a great
Going to be a good one.
cast.
Going to be a good
Dang.
one.
That's a hell of a cast.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing,
and I'm
man.
so happy to hear the news that you got a spinoff.
Thank you, sir.
I'm always so pleased when a guy I've got great respect for, who has been on this journey with me
sure
for
have,
so long. We're out there picking
been
up the
slogging
hammer,
it.
That's awesome.
laying some track. It's like when is the train going to come pick me up?
The train hasn't come enough.
You know what, Dave? You're so right, right? Just slogging.
Guys, I think it's a good time to do this. We should get a timeshare.
Yeah,
The four of us.
I'll get a
Dude, I've had fun.
Yeah, man.
I know you got 5 kids, but fuck them. Am I
Hey,
right?
I would welcome that.
Yeah.
five kids and doing it.
Dude, we
it.
can't thank you enough. Your
Thank
selfie,
you.
you're going to blast out.
That's right.
And
Thank
we're
you.
going to retweet the hell out of it.
I love it.
We still
I
got
love
more
it.
to do. We got fan questions.
Okay,
and then,
okay.
You're a
I'm gonna-
bitch, but we got to get this man.
I'm going to ghost.
And we got a pee
You're a
break.
good man.
Okay, baby.
Go, son.